Chapter 184. The conversation between Guan Shuqing and Lan Qingyue. In one of the rooms on the third floor of the villa, Guan Shuqing's eyelashes twitched a little. She reached around her and frowned. Her body was trembling when she recalled the craziness of last night. She started blushing as she lay on the bed, feeling weakness throughout her body. That was too tiring. She felt that she would need 2 to 3 days of rest to recuperate. Buzz. Buzz. A mobile phone vibrated beside her just as she started imagining things. She stumped for a while before reaching for the mobile phone. It was Wang Xian's phone. When she saw the message, she was taken aback. The message was from Lan Qingyue. There wasn't much in the message and just a sentence. Thank you for your help at the auction the other day. If you have any jewelry in the future, could you sell it to our deep-sea jewelry? Guan Shuqing frowned slightly. She did not reply but instead quietly placed the mobile phone back. A few moments later, Wang Xian walked into the room and saw that Guan Shuqing had woken up. He immediately said, "Shuqing, you are awake. Are you hungry? I have made some chicken soup for you. Let me get it for you." "Sure." Guan Shuqing looked at her man and her eyes were filled with tenderness. Soon Wang Xian walked into the room again with a bowl of chicken soup in his hands. "Come have some. It helps in your recovery." "Thank you, Xiao Xian," Guan Shuqing replied. She drank a mouthful before leaning against Wang Xian's legs. "Let me feed you." Wang Xian's expressions were full of tenderness too as he fed her slowly. "All right, I am full now. Let me rest a little more." "It's all your fault from yesterday," Guan Shuqing said. Guan Shuqing lay down as she rolled her eyes at Wang Xian. "Together. Let's lie down together." Wang Xian tried to snuggle into the bed ecstatically after hearing what Guan Shuqing said. "You, stay away," Guan Shuqing exclaimed. She was scared of him. Wang Xian was slightly disappointed with Guan Shuqing's reactions. "Haven't your injuries recovered yet?" Guan Shuqing nearly cried out after hearing him. Her external injuries had recovered, but she had not recovered from exhaustion. "No. Get out. You are not allowed on the bed. Get out," Guan Shuqing remarked. Wang Xian was speechless and walked out feeling disappointed. How should I deal with this? Guan Shuqing started pondering as she looked at the back view of the leaving Wang Xian. "I cannot satisfy Wang Xian if this continues on, he will." Guan Shuqing was lost. She lay on the bed and fell into a daze. After pondering for some time, Guan Shuqing made up her mind. She picked up Wang Xian's mobile phone. On second thought, she decided to use her own phone and look for Lan Qingyue's on WeChat instead. "Are you there?" she typed. Guan Shuqing bit her lips as she looked at her mobile phone. "Yes. Is there anything?" Lan Qingyue replied. In the deep-sea building in the city center of Rivertown, Lan Qingyue was busily handling the paperwork. She looked drained. She was surprised when she saw Guan Shuqing's message and frowned. "Do you like Xiao Xian?" Guan Shuqing asked after pondering for a while. "Is there any purpose to your question at this juncture?" Lan Qingyue replied calmly while taking a deep breath. "I believe Xiao Xian is in love with you too," Guan Shuqing continued. And then, Lan Qingyue smiled bitterly after looking at this message. She supported her forehead with her hand. What if I'm agreeable to letting you stay beside Xiao Xian? Are you willing?" Guan Shuqing replied immediately. Lan Qingyue was stunned when she saw the message. She bit her lips and replied, "I'm already out of the picture. Besides that, aren't you there for Xiao Xian already? Are you willing if the three of us stay together? The truth is that I also don't want to share him with you. However, I'm out of other options." Guan Shuqing sent out this message bitterly. She didn't want to share her husband with anyone else. However, when she thought of the craziness of Wang Xian from the previous night, she was aghast. Furthermore, as one who was born in a well-to-do family, she knew clearly. Even her own father was having an affair outside. There were few men who were rich but loyal. Moreover, Wang Xian was too outstanding. Even if Wang Xian didn't think about it, there would be lots of women trying to approach him. She should be active instead of passive. Although Lan Qingyue was once her competitor, she admired Lan Qingyue. In the office, when Lan Qingyue saw Guan Shuqing's message, She was shocked and stared at it blankly. All I want now is to stay beside him, Lan Qingyue murmured. She looked down and continued, however, everything is too late now. She wiped her tears and replied, I am getting engaged soon. What? Guan Shuqing sprang up upon seeing the message. She hurriedly continued, you are getting engaged? Do you mean it? Yes, it's true. Xiao Xian and you will have my blessing. I'm really envious of you. Goodbye. Guan Shuqing was shocked by the last message from Lan Qingyue. She doubted, how could Lan Qingyue be engaged? How can this be possible? Her expression changed and she hesitated. She then looked at the clothes that were ripped into pieces. Xiao Xian, Xiao Xian. Guan Shuqing shouted weakly. Huh. Wang Xian, who was surfing the underworld website, immediately rushed over. What's the matter, Shuqing? What happened? Wang Xian walked over and asked caringly. Do you know that Lan Qingyue is getting engaged? Guan Shuqing asked Wang Xian. What? Wang Xian was shocked by what he heard and his expression changed drastically. Guan Shuqing saw the changes in his expression and asked, Xiao Xian, do you like Lan Qingyue too? Wang Xian smiled bitterly while looking at Guan Shuqing. He replied, I do feel a little sorry towards her. Fine, fine. You don't have to explain it to me. Guan Shuqing rolled her eyes before continuing. I wanted to ask her if she would like to be with you too initially. However, I had not expected her to be getting engaged. This isn't right. Based on my understanding of Lan Qingyue, she wouldn't abandon herself to despair just because Xiao Xian hasn't chosen her. Why would she suddenly be getting engaged? Furthermore, from my conversation with her a while ago, she must still be in love with you. However, she seemed to have something she couldn't tell me. Guan Shuqing analyzed seriously. A woman understood another woman best. Furthermore, the sixth sense of woman was usually very strong. Wang Xian was startled after hearing Guan Shuqing, and he opened her mouth briefly. What? What does she mean? Okay, Xiao Xian, I am tired and I want to rest. If you can convince Lan Qingyue, I won't object. Guan Shuqing lay on the bed, closing her eyes as she spoke. Wang Xian's expression changed again. He looked at Guan Shuqing, walked over and gave her a kiss. He took back his phone and left the room with questions. After looking at Wang Xian closing the door lightly, Guan Shuqing opened her eyes. PFF. You are a big teddy. After walking out of the room, Wang Xian started to frown. He recalled the day when he met Lan Qingyue at the auction house and the conversation of those around. Chapter 185 Lan Family. Mo Qinglong. Check on the recent events that happened to Lan family, and check on the tyrannical sword, Lu family, too. Back on the roof at the villa, Wang Xian commanded Mo Qinglong over the phone. Yes, Dragon King. What strength do we have now in the dragon sect? Wang Xian continued to ask Mo Qinglong. Dragon King, we have 50 Dragonians at level 8 while Mo Yuan is already a half step to Inborn. Mo Qinglong answered. Okay, I got it. Have you brought the 9 venomous sea snakes back to the sea? Yes, they are safe in the sea now. Great. After Wang Xian hung up the phone, he looked at the message sent by Lan Qingyue. He immediately asked, are you a willing party in this marriage? Sometimes you can't get what you want, and you can't refuse to do something when you don't want to. About 5 minutes later, Lan Qingyue gave a double-edged reply. I'll get the things I want, and no one can force me to do something that I don't want to do. I'll have control of my own fate. Wang Xian stared at the sea in the distance, drawing the corner of his lips. At the same time, 2 middle-aged men were standing beside Lu Feiyun with respect and a manner at Hailing Province. Useless things. You've got 2 people, and you can't even kill a level 8 martial artist. Lu Feiyun screamed impatiently at the 2 middle-aged men beside him. Young master, her swordsmanship is formidable, and she was at the peak of level 8. We were afraid we might draw attention if we got into a tangle with her for too long. Both middle-aged men explained with an awful look. Oh, formidable swordsmanship? Lu Feiyun drew his lips slightly. Last night, I finally deciphered the art of Sword Celestial from the authentic calligraphy of Li Bai, and obtained Sword Celestial's inheritance. Soon, I'll become a level 8 martial artist. I would like to meet and spar with the lady you said to be strong in her swordsmanship. However, I'm too busy lately, and I don't have the time to play with them. Young master, you obtain Sword Celestial's inheritance. I'm sure you'll make it to the Outstanding Young Heroes chart one day, and overlook the rest of the heroes. The two of them quickly flattered him as they were shocked. Haha, of course. Outstanding Young Heroes. My tyrannical sword and I will ascend to the top. Lu Feiyun laughed. Congratulations, young master. Both of them quickly licked his boots again. Humph, he's just a miracle doctor ranked 18. Both of you will make a trip with Butler Zhao and Lu San the night after tomorrow. You must kill them for me. Otherwise don't come back, said Lu Feiyun coldly. Yes, young master. We'll deliver his head to you. The two middle-aged quickly answered. Lu Feiyun waved his hand and smirked. Wang Xian, Miracle Dr. Wang, and you Lan Qingyue. If it were not for your billions worth of assets, do you think the Lu family would go all the way to help you out? You are just a plaything to me. Since a plaything is not obedient, I'll make sure you listen to me. Lu Feiyun displayed a haughty look. With the inheritance of Sword Celestial, he would become one of the most formidable Sword Celestials in the world soon. 2 days passed. These 2 days, Guan Shuqing had been resting while Wang Xian was waiting quietly in the villa. The school would open tomorrow, and Wang Xian took a month's leave. Dragon King, the information you wanted is here. In the afternoon, 2 figures jumped up to the roof like ghosts when they reported to Wang Xian under the beach umbrella. Wang Xian reached and took the information. It was about tyrannical sword Lu family and Lan family. One inborn expert, for half-step to inborn experts and 13 level 9 martial artists. No wonder they are the first-class force. Wang Xian squinted his eyes as he read Lu family's information. The entire document had detailed records of the strength in the tyrannical sword Lu family. The only one that could evenly match with them in the entire Hailing Province was Ancient Fist Sect. In Hailing Province, no one dared to offend Lu family. When Wang Xian picked up the information about Lan family, an invitation card was caught in between the papers. Wang Xian opened it up. It was an invitation for an engagement party sent by Lan family to other wealthy families. His eyes turned cold as he continued to read. Deep Sea Jewelry and Lan family had taken a hammering under the Zhou Jewelry and Lingyue sect just recently. First, they took a loss in a billion-dollar investment project in Dongqing Province. Next, they were targeted by the Zhou Jewelry. This caused a huge blow to the Lan family. In desperation, Lan family had to join hands with Lu family to stand up against the Zhou Jewelry and Lingyue sect's hammering. However, Lu family requested Lan Qingyue to marry to their family. Tomorrow. Wang Xian stood up slowly. Lu family will not be a concern anymore. You may leave. Wang Xian gestured for them to leave and pondered quietly. Night fell when Xiaoyu, Guan Shuqing, and Elder Fong were watching soap operas downstairs. Wang Xian was thinking of his plan for tomorrow. Should he inform Lan Qingyue in advance? Should he ask for Lan Qingyue's advice? At about 10 p.m., Xiaoyu and the rest went back to their rooms to sleep. Guan Shuqing did not allow Wang Xian to enter her room. Without any choice, he went to the next room. Around 11 p.m., Elder Fong woke up in her room as she looked at the bells ringing non-stop at the bedside. With a swift movement, she opened her door. Elder Fong, let's do it together. Just then a voice came from upstairs. She lifted her chin and saw Wang Xian looking over with a smile. Elder Fong paused before she nodded. Wang Xian made a quiet jump into the living room. Indeed, Miracle Dr. Wang is not that simple. Looking at the way he moved, Elder Fong thought to herself. She had always believed that the mysterious Miracle Dr. Wang was not someone simple. Last time they sent 2 level 8 martial artists over here. This time they will definitely send more formidable people over. Elder Fong reminded Wang Xian. Don't worry. I've got everything prepared. Wang Xian chuckled and looked outside. Voila! The door was opened and the 4 black middle-aged men walked into the villa. I have been waiting for you guys for many days. Finally, you guys came. Wang Xian gazed at the 4 people in front of him with smiles on his face. The 4 black figures hesitated as they swept their watchful gazes around. Just the 2 of them. A middle-aged man narrowed his eyes and said coldly, "Kill them and behead the man." The middle-aged man in the middle spoke in a cold and harsh tone. "What's the hurry? I still want to ask who sent you guys over." Wang Xian wore a smiley face as if everything seemed like a breeze to him. Kill. However, the quartet did not hesitate at all. With swift movements they launched an attack at them. "You are really asking for it." Wang Xian looked at the four black figures with an icy look. Chapter 186. Dragon King's Order. "You guys are courting your death." Just as Elder Fong was preparing to pull out her long sword to attack, a voice pierced through the silence. The four black figures wavered and looked at their surroundings attentively. "How dare you barge into the forbidden grounds of the Dragon King? How audacious!" The voice sounded again and a shadow appeared in front of the four black figures, staring at them coldly. "You!" The four black figures were shocked by the sudden appearance of an old man and instinctively staggered back several steps. "You, who are you?" "Oh no, we are ambushed." The four black figures stared at the old man who appeared suddenly, feeling aghast. Elder Fong also perked up and stared at the old man in front of her attentively. To her astonishment, she didn't manage to see how this old man had appeared. "Cough cough. The Dragon King is asking you guys a question. If you aren't answering, I'll just have to make you talk." Mo Qinglong stretched his arms out slowly. The four black figures looked at Mo Qinglong with heavy expressions. As Mo Qinglong stretched his arms up, a devilish force swept towards them. "Shit! He isn't someone we can stand up against. Run! Hurry, run!" The four black figures were petrified. At the instant the old man raised his arms, they felt the fear of death creeping upon them. "Can you escape?" Mo Qinglong commented mockingly as waves of dark energy entered the body of the black figures. The four froze and horrified expressions were seen on their faces. To everyone's astonishment, the old man was able to control their bodies just by raising his arms. Following which, their eyes were shrouded by darkness and their bodies stiffened. "This is the devil path. An inborn expert." Elder Fong was horrified to see Mo Qinglong controlling the four men through such a terrifying method. Devil path. Moreover, he was a powerful expert at the inborn realm. An inborn expert who practices the devil path takes orders from Wang Xian? Could it be that he also practices the devil path? Elder Fong thought. "Speak. Who sent you guys here?" Wang Xian asked the four men coldly. It's our young master." The four black figures replied together. "Who is your young master?" Wang Xian continued asking. "Young master Lu Feiyun. He wanted us to come and claim your head and kill off everyone in the villa. He wanted this as his present for his engagement ceremony the next day," they replied. "Lu Feiyun. Fine. Wang Xian squinted his eyes as murderous intent flashed past his eyes. He didn't expect these men to be sent by Lu Feiyun. Furthermore, he ordered these men to decapitate him. "Since that's the case, I will send you a congratulatory gift tomorrow. Kill them," he said coldly to Mo Qinglong. "Yes, Dragon King." Mo Qinglong waved his arms and the four collapsed on the ground. Elder Fong's heart skipped a beat as she saw the developments. She looked at Wang Xian with her eyes flickering. "Get everyone in Rivertown to go to the Lan family's villa tomorrow." "Yes, Dragon King." Mo Qinglong nodded respectfully. Shifting his stance, he disappeared from sight. "Dragon King?" Elder Fong thought to herself. Elder Fong heard how the terrifying inborn expert addressed Wang Xian. She had a lot of questions in mind but didn't act rashly. "You are going to the Lan family tomorrow?" "Tomorrow is the day the Lan family and the Lu family hold their engagement ceremony," Elder Fong reminded Wang Xian. "I know," Wang Xian replied. He continued calmly, "Elder Fong, you should go get some rest." Elder Fong looked at Wang Xian once again. She hesitated but still went back into her room. She pondered for some time before taking out her mobile phone and calling sect leader Tang. "Elder Fong, did something happen for you to call me at this time?" The voice of sect leader Tang could be heard from the other end of the phone call. "Sect leader, I have a very important thing for you," Elder Fong said solemnly. "Just say it." Sect leader Tang got serious and answered. It's about Xiao Yu's elder brother, Miracle Dr. Wang. Elder Feng took a deep breath and continued. The Lu family from the tyrannical sword sent assassins to assassinate him tonight. However, a terrifying old man appeared and addressed Miracle Dr. Wang as the Dragon King. The old man uses devilish techniques and is definitely an inborn expert. With a wave of his hand, he murdered 2 level 9 martial artists and 2 level 8 martial artists. Furthermore, Miracle Dr. Wang is preparing to meet the Lan family tomorrow. My guess is that he will be confronting the Lu family. Lu family of the tyrannical sword. Inborn expert. Dragon King. Sect leader Tang's expression got worse as Elder Feng spoke. He replied, I knew Miracle Doctor wouldn't be simple since he can take out a level 4 spiritual medicine effortlessly. However, I hadn't expected an inborn expert to address him as Dragon King. The Lu family only has an inborn expert. Since Miracle Dr. Wang dares to go, he should have enough confidence. Sect leader Tang's eyes flickered as he continued, Miracle Dr. Wang and Xiao Yu. I will bring some men to the Lan family tomorrow. Elder Feng was stunned after hearing sect leader Tang. Nonetheless, she replied respectfully, yes, sect leader. Dragon King and an inborn expert. Sect leader Tang started to ponder. Tonight was fated to be an eventful night for the people of Rivertown. None dare to defy once the order of the Dragon King is issued. The Ren family head replied respectfully to the Dark Shadow. The Dark Shadow nodded. His body moved and disappeared from the luxurious villa. The order from the Dragon King had been issued. Rivertown will be chaotic once again. Ren family head said as he looked at the Dark Shadow disappearing. He could feel a faint pressure from the Dark Shadow. However, he knew that this was just an ordinary member of the Dragon sect. Tomorrow is the day the Lan family and the Lu family host their engagement ceremony. It seems like the Dragon King is targeting the Lu family. The Ren family head eyes flickered and he shouted to those outside. Come in. Family head. 2 people rushed in and addressed him respectfully. Gather all the elites of the Ren family. Follow me and obey the orders of the Dragon King tomorrow. Yes, family head. The 2 members were shocked and nodded their heads. Old Duan got dressed early in the morning and gave his orders to the elites of his family. Tomorrow, we shall obey the command of the Dragon King. Obey the command of the Dragon King. Obey the command of the Dragon King. Each and every ancient martial arts family from Rivertown answered in unison and would obey the command of the Dragon King. At the Qin family, old Qin dressed up and laughed heartily. Brother Wang Xian wants to blow this up. With the Dragon sect and everyone from Rivertown, there's no reason to be scared of the Lu family. Haha. Incredible. Incredible. Once the order of the Dragon King is issued, no one in Rivertown dares to disobey. The news spread to every elite and wealthy man in Rivertown. Old Qin from the Qin family had told them personally. The order of the Dragon King had been issued, and they shall obey the order tomorrow. Although this group of people did not understand much about the Dragon King and some might not have heard of him, Old Qin and those wealthy men with connections with ancient martial arts families had all received the news. Tomorrow, they shall head to the Lan family and take orders from the Dragon King. At night, the whole of Rivertown shook just because of a person's order. The night passed by peacefully. However, turmoil had started to brew. So, the Dragon King has the Dragon sect backing him. Dragon King, I have come too. At the top floor of a building, a long-haired man stood there and spoke plainly. Chapter 187. I'm Wang Xian 1. The next morning at Flowing Water Villa. Flowing Water Villa was a private club in Rivertown with a horse racing track, golf course and swimming pool. This was a high-end private club. Also a high-end banquet venue. Lan family, second to Qin family in Rivertown, was indeed a billion-dollar group. Even though the stock price of Lan family had fallen sharply in the recent period, they still maintained their status. No ordinary companies or groups could easily shake Lan family's status. Besides, they had their foundation. It would be difficult for them to fall. Today was a rather important day for the entire Lan family. Lan family would be joining hands with the tyrannical sword of the Lu family from the Hailing province. To put it bluntly, Lan family was getting tyrannical sword Lu family as their backing. Tyrannical sword of the Lu family possessed formidable strength in Hailing province. Their family assets had reached hundreds of billions. But this was secondary. Lu family was strong in its mighty strength. In the entire Hailing province, it was scarce to have someone who dared to offend the tyrannical sword of the Lu family. Hence, the political marriage of Lan family's future heir, Lan Qingyue, and tyrannical sword of the Lu family, Little Sword Celestial, was a big deal for many people. Early in the morning, many luxury cars were parked outside the flowing water villa. All elites were well dressed as they headed to the villa. Second Master Lu, hello? Second Master Lu, hello? A middle-aged man put on a smile as he stood at the entrance, greeting all the guests. Haha. Thank you for traveling so far to attend Xiao Yun's engagement ceremony. Second Master Lu laughed as he greeted the guests politely. You're welcome. It's young Master Lu's engagement ceremony. We must be here for the celebration. It's our honor to be here. That's right. Since young Master Lu is of the Hailing province, the friends from Hailing province must join in the celebration. The middle-aged men and elderly men quickly replied. Haha. Thank you everyone. Second Master Lu cupped his fist and smiled. Many people drove their luxurious cars with presents from Hailing province. They were heading towards the flowing water villa joyfully. Those wealthy families, martial artist families, and sects had to come and showed their support since it was a political marriage between Lu family and Lan family. Besides, it was the Little Sword Celestial who was getting engaged. That's Magnate Gua. He's in the top 5 tycoons in Hailing province. I didn't expect he would be here personally. They are from the Hushan sect of Hailing province, a second-class sect. That's Wu family of Hailing province, another second-class family. Gosh, so many people actually came to support Lu family. If this ceremony were to be held in Hailing province, I believe there would be more people. It was the right choice to have this political marriage. Lu family's strength in Hailing province was too formidable. A few people from the Lan family were in disbelief when they saw the stream of people who walked in. Lu family was simply too strong. Lan family found themselves a strong backing with a political marriage despite making some sacrifices themselves too. Xiao, have we sent out all our invitations? A middle-aged man asked the woman next to him. Yes, we did. We sent them to all well-known people, including the ancient martial artist families in Rivertown. It's just that I don't think the ancient martial artist families would turn up since we have no contact with them. The woman frowned. Lan family was considered to be widely known in Rivertown. They also invited many people since the future heir of the family was getting engaged. Even though they could not compare their lineup with Lu family, they should not lose out at the very least. I wonder if Qin family will turn up. The middle-aged man hesitated as he frowned and spoke while observing the guests from Lu family. I think someone will come. It's just that we're not sure about that person's status, the woman pondered and said. Forget it. Let's not think about these things. We're still far from Lu family. Once we finish this engagement, we will not be afraid of the Zhou and Lingyue sect. The middle-aged man said as cold radiance flashed in his eyes. The magnates from Rivertown are here. Let's receive them. The middle-aged man and woman were the parents of Lan Qingyue. He looked at those magnates from Rivertown and went up to greet them with smiles. Director Lan, congratulations. One by one, the Rivertown magnates greeted him with smiling faces. However, their smiles seemed to be odd and peculiar. Director Li, welcome. Thank you for attending my daughter's engagement ceremony. The middle-aged greeted him with smiles. You're welcome. Director Li gave an awkward smile. Director Lan, congratulations. Thank you, Director Lan, for inviting me. I must thank all of you for attending the ceremony. Please come in. Looking at the Rivertown magnates, Director Lan put on a smiling face and spoke fervently. The group of Rivertown magnates chuckled and walked inside. Dragon King. 2 magnates who knew each other went inside. One of them spoke softly to a middle-aged man. The other middle-aged man nodded. It was Dragon King's order. Old Duan called me personally, and said he will show up too. Hu family head asked me to come. Old Qin informed me to come over. All elites in the entire Rivertown came over under an order. I bet Lan family has yet to know about this. Who dares to tip them off? The group of magnates went inside. Old Qin is here personally. At this time, Lan family's people who were receiving the guests were thrilled when they saw Old Qin and other well-known magnates walking over. I think they are taking account of Lu family. What a great influence for a first-class force. Old Qin actually turned up personally for our political marriage with the Lu family. Old Qin, it's our honor for you to come here personally. Thank you very much. The parents of Lan Qingyue quickly went up and spoke to him with smiling faces. I had to come this time. Old Qin greeted them politely with a double-edged comment. It's my honor to have you attend a junior's engagement ceremony. Old Qin, this way. The middle-aged man and the lady welcomed him inside. Carry on with what you're doing. We can go over by ourselves. Old Qin smiled and waved them off as he led a group of people inside. Just then a middle-aged guy from Lan family exclaimed, those are the ancient martial art families: Ren family, Shui family, Duan family, and Hu family. Gosh, the influence of the Lu family is too overwhelming. All the ancient martial artist families of Rivertown are here. We don't have a second-class force in Rivertown, not to mention a first-class force. Hence, no one will dare to provoke us since we're in-laws with the Lu family. Besides, they need to give us some face, so they are here to make peace with us today. Haha, you're right. We'll enjoy a higher status in Rivertown in the future. This engagement was the right decision to make. Chapter 188. I'm Wang Xian too. The members of the Lan family were conversing joyously. The number of people who had attended this wedding was completely beyond their expectations. Old Qin had come personally and the majority of the ancient martial artist families in Rivertown had already arrived. This made them feel extremely proud and lucky at the same time. They felt lucky that they were having a wedding with the Lu family. This political marriage would bring the Lan family countless intangible benefits. Even the ancient martial artist families in Rivertown are wary of the Lu family and are here to show goodwill. This political marriage is worth it. A young member of the Lan family commented happily. The surrounding members of the Lan family also smiled radiantly. As the guests entered the villa one after another, the Lan family noticed that the majority of the wealthy men and ancient martial artist families of Rivertown had all arrived. There were a total of 300 to 400 of them. This was undoubtedly a huge number. Together with the guests from the Lan family and the Lu family, the number of people attending this engagement ceremony was over 1,000. Within a room in the flowing water villa, Lan Qingyue sat in front of the dressing table without emotions. Behind her, several maids were helping her put up exquisite makeup and adjusting her beautiful white engagement ceremony dress. Sister Lan, you should be a little more thrilled. Today's your big day. Do you know how many people are out there? There are at least 1,000 of them. Oh my God. I heard that the wealthy people in Rivertown have all arrived. Moreover, there are many influential figures from Hailing Province. The Lu family is truly incredible in Hailing Province. Moreover, Lu Feiyun's fame has spread far and wide despite his young age, and many refer to him as the Little Sword Celestial. Qingyue, you are really blessed. Beside her, a young lady commented. Lan Qingyue's eyes flickered and were filled with fatigue and indignance. She looked at the reflection of herself in the mirror. She was beautiful, but she didn't like the white dress. She preferred a red wedding gown. However, she did not say it out loud. This was because she wasn't a willing party to this engagement. If it wasn't for the Lan family, or if the person she liked had the same feelings for her, she would have never agreed to the engagement. Qingyue, are you done? At this moment, the door to the room opened. Lu Feiyun was wearing a neat set of attire. This attire wasn't a suit but a family costume of the Lu family. Slightly above the chest area, the word Lu was imprinted on it. There was also an image of an ethereal flower embroidered onto the costume. He had a sword behind him that indicated his identity as a member of the Lu family, who was known for their tyrannical sword. His attire wasn't typical for an engagement ceremony, but it was, in fact, the most formal costume of the Lu family. I'll be done right away. Lan Qingyue nodded her head slowly and replied without turning her head over. Seeing how she reacted, a cold look flashed in the eyes of Lu Feiyun. As he looked at Lan Qingyue from top to bottom, vile thoughts arose in his mind. The engagement ceremony will begin in half an hour. Qingyue, get dressed properly. We have a lot of people that have come from Hailing Province, Lu Feiyun said. His lips curved into a smile as he turned around and left. Qingyue, look at how charming Lu Feiyun is. You and he are the real perfect couple, the young lady by her side commented. Lan Qingyue didn't respond to it and simply looked into the mirror with hollow eyes. The golf course of Flowing Water Villa had been modified into a large engagement ceremony field. On it, there were over 100 exquisite tables with delicious food on them. At the center there was a pathway laid by the red carpet. At the front of it, there was an elevated platform set up for the engagement ceremony. The stage was huge, and the place looked just like the launch event of major popular brands. Although it was outdoors, the surrounding decoration was luxurious with a tinge of romance. At this moment, the guests of the Lu family and the Lan family were seated to the left and right respectively. Sect Leader Tang, please come in. I had not expected Sect Leader Tang to attend our Lan family's wedding. It is truly our honor. At this moment, several members of the Lan family welcomed Sect Leader Tang, and a dozen members of the Thistles and Thorns sect enthusiastically before leading them to their seats. Hehe, Director Lan. How could the Thistles and Thorns sect stay out of today's event? Sect Leader Tang looked across the crowd from Rivertown and commented with a faint smile. Yes. Thank you for coming. Everyone, please. The middle-aged man and the other members of the Lan family replied joyously. They had never expected Sect Leader Tang of the Thistles and Thorns sect from the southern province to lead their members to attend this engagement ceremony. This was a second-class force. Who would have expected the Lan family to have so many guests? The sect leader of Thistles and Thorns sect from the southern province is even here personally. Moreover, the Qin family and the majority of ancient martial artist families from Rivertown have all come. Haha, they aren't doing this for the Lan family. Instead, they are showing respect to the tyrannical sort of the Lu family. If the Lan family could really invite them over, they wouldn't be so badly bullied by Lingyue sect. That's true. Those people from the southern province and Rivertown wouldn't be here if not for the Lu family. To the left of the crowd from Rivertown, the guests of Lu family were looking at the guests of the Lan family, while whispering softly. Around the table closest to the stage, 7 to 8 members of the Lu family and Lan family sat around. An old man with a white beard sat on the seat for the host. He looked around satisfactorily and said to the old man beside him, "The Lan family sure has a lot of guests. Haha, old Lu. I'm sure you know that they are here mainly because of you." The old man from the Lan family replied courteously. Haha, that's true. The tyrannical sword of the Lu family is still rather influential around the surrounding provinces. Your granddaughter is really lucky to be marrying my grandson. The old man with a white beard wasn't humble at all as he remarked arrogantly. Yes, the old man from the Lan family nodded his head. A tinge of embarrassment flashed past his eyes. The other members of the Lan family simply exchanged pleasantries with the other members of the Lu family. The difference between the strength of the two parties had determined the difference in their status. Just as they were conversing, the guests around them consciously and unconsciously looked over. Who would have expected old Lu to be here? He's the pillar of the Lu family. Old Lu rarely shows up in the Lu family's villa. He probably rushed over for his beloved grandson's engagement ceremony. Old Lu has reached the inborn realm for over 20 years. His strength is probably even more horrifying at this moment. The crowd discussed softly. With an inborn expert sitting right there, it was hard for them to not pay attention to this area. It seems like I'm not too late. At this moment, a young man walked over slowly. He looked towards the Lu family with a smile before walking to the location at the front. When the ancient martial artists of Rivertown saw Wang Xian, they held their breath as they saw him walking ahead. And he sat around the table with Old Qin, Old Duan, Old Shui, Sect Leader Tang and others. Chapter 189. I'm Wang Xian 3. Thank you all. Wang Xian said and smiled as he looked at the few people at the same table. Wang Xian already called us to come. How can we not turn up? Old Qin smiled back at Wang Xian. The bride and groom are out. Today's main characters are here. Just then some voices came from the side. Wang Xian spun his head around and peered towards the back. Everyone turned around too. The clean-looking white gown with the refined makeup turned Lan Qingyue into a ravishing beauty. Every move of hers was giving off a unique vibe. Lu Feiyun beside her was in a blue suit with a long sword behind him. He looked around with a face full of smiles. His dignified demeanor and confident appearance made him an elegant man too. They were made for each other. The man is dashing while the lady is striking. Haha, such a perfect match. The crowd was pouring endless praise when they saw the attractive couple walking on the red carpet. Let's welcome the couple who are walking towards their happiness. A renowned host was holding onto a microphone with smiles on the front stage. Lu Feiyun, 28 years old, is well known as Little Sword Celestial, who is a well-mannered and impressive gentleman. Lan Qingyue, 22 years old. She's already the general manager at Deep Sea Jewelry at such a young age. And she's a famous talent in Rivertown. Today they will be tying the knot over here. As the host introduced the couple, soft music was played. All the guests kept quiet as they watched smilingly. She's still so beautiful. Wang Xian looked at Lan Qingyue and displayed a faint grin. Upon hearing his comment, Old Qin and Old Shui threw him a gaze as they widened their smiles. Even heroes have a weakness for the charms of a beautiful woman. Look, they're here. As they were approaching, the host said with smiles, "Please face our friends and relatives. Today, they will be witnessing the couple tying the knot of a lifetime." Lu Feiyun turned around as he grinned from ear to ear. Lan Qingyue followed suit too. Thank you for attending the engagement ceremony of Mr. Lu Feiyun and Ms. Lan Qingyue. Today will mark a new beginning for the couple. Let's give them our most sincere congratulations. Today, all of you will witness the engagement of the couple. Even though this is not the wedding ceremony, getting engaged is equivalent to proposing. I wonder if the fiancé has prepared anything. The host looked at Lu Feiyun with smiles. Lu Feiyun returned a grin to him. Of course. Then let your show begin, the host joked. An engagement was different from a wedding. The fiancé had to propose on the grand stage. Lu Feiyun drew his lips slightly. After he took 2 slow steps backward, he swung his arm, and the long sword behind him was drawn into the air. He threw his arm up, grabbed the long sword, and began his sword dance. In amongst flowers with a bottle of wine. I drink alone, for there is no one close by. I raise my chalice to invite the shining moon. The moon casts me a shadow, and we have a triad. Since the moon never learns to drink, my shadow absent-mindedly shall follow me. Nevertheless, I have them around me, enjoying the moments just like how it should be. I sing, and the moon lingers. I dance, and my shadow whirls under. In my sober moments we rejoice together. And we bid goodbye as soon as I am drunk. Such fellowship shall last despite our parted ways. Only heaven knows when we shall come together again. A sword danced in front of the audience. As Lu Feiyun wielded his sword, he recited one of Li Bai's renowned poems, Drinking Alone Under the Moon. His sword was gleaming with a faint and wavering glow from the moon, which was beautiful and extravagant. The audience was taken aback by Lu Feiyun's swordplay such that they could not hide their shocking expressions. Little Sword Celestial's swordsmanship seems to be much stronger than what the rumors claimed it to be. Gosh, this is impressive. His sword seems to have drawn a picture in the air. Young Master Lu's swordsmanship is getting more powerful. He lives up to the name of Little Sword Celestial. Haha, awesome. It's indeed the art of Sword Celestial. Well done. An elder with a full white beard was sitting in the front row, looking ebullient when he gazed at the strokes Lu Feiyun displayed. Lu Feiyun was even more proud when he noticed the surprised looks from the audience. He then turned to Lan Qingyue. Wine and Moon were the most loyal companions throughout Li Bai's entire life. I hope, Qingyue, you can become my most loyal companion in my life too. Just recently, I obtained the Sword Celestial's inheritance, and I'll rise to the highest level in no time. As my wife, you'll also enjoy a high status with me. As Lu Feiyun spoke, he pointed the long sword into the air, and a diamond ring appeared on the top. He threw his long sword back into its scabbard and took the diamond ring as he gazed smilingly at Lan Qingyue. Qingyue, will you be my companion? Lu Feiyun looked at the ravishing Lan Qingyue. Wow, this is so romantic. If someone were to propose to me like this, I'd say yes immediately. All the females in the crowd were falling head over heels for him. Lu Feiyun, who performed swordplay, was simply too romantic and touching. I didn't expect that young Master Lu could obtain the sword celestial, Li Bai's inheritance. No wonder the sword dance was beautiful, yet ferocious. What a surprise. I heard that he won the auction of Li Bai's authentic calligraphy. He's such a talent to have comprehended its essence in such a short time. He even obtained the inheritance. He's such a gifted man. Given young Master Lu's talent, he will take over old Lu's position and become the next inborn sword celestial of the Lu family. When the audience heard what Lu Feiyun said, they were struck by surprise. The talent displayed by Lu Feiyun was daunting. Lan Qingyue fell into a trance-like state as she gazed at Lu Feiyun and the diamond ring in his hand. A different phase of life would begin as soon as she received the ring. Immense bitterness filled her eyes as she closed them. Upon seeing how Lan Qingyue was responding, Lu Feiyun frowned slightly. Impatience flashed in his eyes as he sounded stiff. Qingyu, will you say yes to me? Of course not. Just when Lan Qingyue opened her eyes to accept her fate, a voice cut the silent air in the engagement ceremony. Upon hearing the voice, Lan Qingyue jerked slightly as she spun around with disbelief. She stared hard at Wang Xian. An abrupt voice had stunned everyone from the Lan and Lu family. Lu Feiyun on the stage turned around immediately. When he saw Wang Xian, he was slightly taken aback. Soon after, he glared at Wang Xian with a murderous face. Who are you, brat? How dare you spout nonsense here? Seeking your own doom? A middle-aged man who was sitting beside the white-bearded old man stood up. He stared at Wang Xian with a sharp and ferocious look as he shouted at him. The white-bearded old man swept his gaze across Wang Xian before he turned to look at the seniors from Lan family unhappily. Apparently, he was displeased with the fact that the person who had interrupted was a guest of the Lan family. I'm Wang Xian. Wang Xian returned a smile to that middle-aged man as he replied impassively. Chapter 190. I'm Wang Xian 4. I'm Wang Xian. It was just 3 short and ordinary words, but they exhibited endless confidence. Wang Xian? Where did this brat come from? How dare he spout nonsense here? Is he courting his own death? At this moment, before the Lu family responded, a burly man among the Lu family's guests stood up and shouted emotionlessly at Wang Xian. That's right. How dare you spout nonsense in young Master Lu's engagement ceremony? You must be too eager to die. I have not heard of Wang Xian. However, I'll probably be attending your memorial service the same day next year. What an arrogant brat to kick up a fuss in Lu family's engagement ceremony. You must be tired of living. After that burly middle-aged man stood up to reprimand Wang Xian, other ancient martial artists stood up one after another and stared coldly at Wang Xian. Some of the ancient martial artists emitted strong auras directly as they threw their gazes filled with killing intent at Wang Xian. In an instant, everyone's attention had fallen onto Wang Xian. Without having to take actions or say a single word, there was already a group of guests who were willing to stand up for the Lu family. In fact, if it wasn't a joyous event today, they would have taken actions directly to get on the good books of the Lu family. Xiaoxian, why are you here? Get away quickly. Lan Qingyue was shocked to see Wang Xian. After hearing the threats of the crowd while still being in shock, her face turned pale and she blurted out. She knew that Wang Xian was incredible. However, the other party was the Lu family, who was one of the top forces in Hailing province. Lan Qingyue's body was shivering a little and her eyes were filled with horror. When the crowd heard Lan Qingyue, they were stunned. What does this mean? When the female party of the engagement ceremony said those words, the meaning behind it would be great. Is Wang Xian the old flame of Lan Qingyue? Or perhaps he was her secret lover? A bright green grass field slowly appeared over Lu Feiyun's head. You couldn't really blame them for reading too much into this. With the development of the situation, it wasn't hard for them to reach this conclusion. In fact, those with a wilder imagination already had a few versions in their minds. The young Missy of the Lan family is forced to marry the Lu family. The lover of the young Missy appears to snatch the bride. The young Missy of the Lan family has an affair with a poor kid. Little Sword Celestial of the Lu family is made a cuckold. Wait. Lan Qingyue. Lu Feiyun saw the expression of Lan Qingyue and heard her words. His expression was savage and he was clenching his fist tightly. Under such circumstances and during his engagement ceremony, for her fiancé to be involved in a scandal with another man, this was the utmost humiliation to him. How could he possibly face the public in the future as the little Sword Celestial of the tyrannical sword? Bam! Preposterous! Preposterous! At this moment at the table of the host, the white-bearded old man slammed his hand heavily on the table with a solemn expression. All the cups on the table were knocked over. The old man from Lan family beside him looked extremely pale. The other members of the Lan family were also as white as a sheet. Some even stared at Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue angrily. The burly middle-aged man from before saw how furious old Lu was. He stood up and immediately remarked, "Old Lu, leave this to us. We can handle it." "Yeah, old Lu. Just leave this brat to us." Those ancient martial arts families and sects who wished to get on the good side of the Lu family stood up one after another and requested old Lu to let them help. Drag him out. Old Lu didn't say a word, but the middle-aged man beside him did. Yes. Instantly over 10 people nodded their heads. They were from different families and sections. They stood up and stared harshly at Wang Xian before walking towards him. "Brat, you are courting your own death." The burly middle-aged man stared coldly at Wang Xian with killing intent. Xiao Xian. Seeing this, Lan Qingyue's complexion turned even paler. A teardrop streamed down her cheek. Wang Xian looked at the dozen people walking towards him and revealed a mocking smile. He stood up gradually. Rattle, rattle. At this moment, sounds of tables and chairs scraping the floor sounded. To the astonishment of the Lan family, the Lu family and the guests, all the ancient martial artist families and wealthy men from Rivertown and the members of the Thistles and Thorns sect together with sect leader Tang stood up. They stared coldly at the dozen people walking towards Wang Xian. The atmosphere dropped below freezing point in an instant. Everyone from the Lan family looked at this scene with disbelief. All the major families, ancient martial artist families from Rivertown and the members of the Thistles and Thorns sect, had all stood up with the young man. They were shocked by the development. The Lan family had initially thought that they were only here to show goodwill because of the political marriage with the Lu family. They thought that the Thistles and Thorns sect, Old Qin and the wealthy men from Rivertown were only here in hopes of getting to know the Lu family. However, they realized that they were completely wrong. They weren't here because they wanted to show goodwill to them for the political marriage with the Lu family. And they weren't there because they were wary of the Lu family. They were here for that young man. The dozen martial artists walking towards Wang Xian were stunned. They looked at the Rivertown crowd in shock as their expressions turned solemn. Just a while ago, they were still commenting that the ancient martial artist families of Rivertown and sects from the southern province were only here because of the Lu family. At this moment, those were just their wishful thoughts. They were here to get on the good books of the Lu family? Nope, they were here to go against the Lu family. Haha. Great. The middle-aged man beside the white-bearded old man looked hideous as he saw the crowd stand up. He stood up gradually and fixed his eyes on Wang Xian. "Brat, I think I know who you are. To have such a huge influence in Rivertown and to be so young, you must be Miracle Dr. Wang, who ranks 18th on the Miracle Doctors chart. Not bad. You are pretty good, brat. However, you choose to not enjoy your bright future, and instead offend our Lu family. Do you think this trash from Rivertown is sufficient to challenge our Lu family?" The middle-aged man shouted out the last sentence. Rattle, rattle. As the middle-aged man completed his sentence, the guests of the Lu family stood up immediately. In terms of number, they weren't inferior to the people of Rivertown. When it came to strength, they were much stronger than the crowd from Rivertown. Among the guests of the Liu family, there were 3 to 4 second-class forces. On the other hand, only Thistles and Thorns sect was a second-class force on the Rivertown side. Just a small Rivertown, and yet you dare to challenge the Liu family. You guys don't know where you stand. The Liu family doesn't even need to take actions, and we can easily annihilate you guys. Haha, interesting. A small Rivertown that doesn't even have a second-class force and the southern province which doesn't even have a first-class force are thinking of challenging us and the Liu family. They must be really eager to seek their own death. I'll give you guys a chance right now. Cripple that brat and throw him over. Otherwise, we will annihilate the entire Rivertown. The guests of the Liu family looked down on the group behind Wang Xian. If it was just the forces of Rivertown, they weren't wary at all. In fact, even if they included the southern province, they weren't afraid if they included the Liu family too. I'm sorry that I'm late. At this moment, a nonchalant voice sounded in the ears of everyone. Chapter 191. Annihilation 1. I'm sorry that I'm late. A nonchalant voice sounded in the ears of everyone. Everyone was stunned as they turned their attention to the entrance at the side. It was a middle-aged man with hair that spread around his shoulders. He had a saber at his back. His fringe was concealing his eyes, but even so, a bright and fearsome radiance could be vaguely seen from his eyes. Behind that middle-aged man, dozens of followers were trailing behind him. They had the same weapons in their hands. All of them shared an extraordinary vibe that came from someone who held high positions for a long time. Who is he? A middle-aged man observed the horde of people with surprise as he displayed a puzzled look. But everyone had the same sentiment when the horde of people emerged. All of them were staring at the long-haired middle-aged man who was leading at the front. We've got more than enough people to challenge you guys. The man was obviously Maniac G. Following behind him were all formidable people from the ancient martial artist families and sects in Flow City. Maniac G might not have established any forces of his own, but he was born and lived in Flow City. He truly deserved to be the king of Flow City. Even if he did not claim to be the king, all the families and sects in Flow City recognized him as one. Maniac G's identity was similar to Wang Xian's in Rivertown. They were kings without having to proclaim themselves as such. None of the people in Flow City dared to defy his orders. Maniac G slowly lifted his chin and stared at the middle-aged man who remarked, a small Rivertown which doesn't even have a second-class force and the southern province which doesn't even have a first-class force were thinking of challenging them and the Liu family. They must be really eager to seek their own death. Maniac G. That middle-aged man filled his eyes with fear as he swallowed his saliva with a trembling body when he saw Maniac G staring at him nonchalantly. Maniac G, he's Maniac G. All the guests from Liu family went pale in panic. Reputation was all a person needed. Be mad, be a maniac. Do whatever it takes, Maniac G. Back then, Maniac G stooped to any means just to annihilate the entire first-class force, and this created a stir in the ancient martial arts world. Anyone who encountered this maniac would be petrified. Maniac G swept his impassive glance across those guests from Liu family as he paced his way to Wang Xian. With a bow, he shouted respectfully, "Miracle Dr. Wang. You're not late." Wang Xian had not informed Maniac G, but he was pleased to see Maniac G here. Ji Yuankuan might be known as Maniac G, but he had a strong sense of comradeship, and he was someone who kept his words. Glad to hear that. Maniac G revealed a smile. After his son recovered, he finally found his long-lost smile. Miracle Dr. Wang, should I annihilate Liu family? Maniac G's voice was heard once again. When the guests from Liu family saw the chilly smile Maniac G was wearing, their foreheads broke into a cold sweat. No doubt it was Maniac G. The first thing he said was to annihilate tyrannical sword of Liu family. Maniac G, do you want to set yourself against us? At this time, the white-bearded old man who was sitting at the front could not take it lying down. He stood up immediately with frosty radiance flickering in his eyes. Maniac G ignored the white-bearded old man as he continued to look at Wang Xian, waiting for his reply. Do it. Wang Xian spat out the words coldly. Ha 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 ha. Just then, the white-bearded old man laughed wildly. He stared at Wang Xian with a malevolent expression. Brat, you are thinking of annihilating Lu family? What an arrogant tone. Do you think Maniac Ji himself could do that by himself? The white-bearded old man continued as he glared ferociously at Maniac Ji. Others may be afraid of you, but I Lu Jingshan am not. Do you think you can be my match? The white-bearded old man exhibited immense confidence on his face as he spoke. 20 years ago, he had made a breakthrough and attained Inborn Realm, while Maniac Ji had accomplished that only 5 years ago. Hence Lu Jingshan was dauntless. Wang Xian, damn you. Today, I'll kill you with my own hands. Lu Feiyun felt embarrassed when he saw a horde of ancient martial artist families, and Maniac Ji led by Wang Xian. He slowly drew the sharp-edged sword with a pair of murderous eyes as he glared at Wang Xian. Today, Lu family had nothing to fear if a fight broke out. His grandfather could hold Maniac Ji while the rest of the guests from Lu family could cripple Wang Xian's men. Kill me with your own hands? Wang Xian stared at Lu Feiyun coldly as he filled his eyes with an immense amount of killing intent. He swung his arm. Whoosh! At this time, 4 figures were thrown over to the side. Everyone was appalled as they quickly turned to check on the black figures. Bam! 4 black figures were thrown to the stage, making 4 thumping sounds. 4 bodies. All of them were aghast as they stared at the 4 bodies on the stage. Lu Feiyun fixed his eyes on the 4 bodies with an awful look on his face. He could even recognize them at one glance, as they were the ones who he had sent to assassinate Wang Xian last night. How dare you send someone to kill my family and me? Heh! I must destroy Lu family. As soon as Wang Xian finished his words, a group of people, in black attire with a golden divine dragon embroidered on their chest, marched slowly towards them. There were 52 in total, including an old man and a middle-aged man at the entrance. The remaining ones were young men. As they marched over, they exuded an intense killing vibe. All of the people from Lu family varied their expressions. Every one of them stared at those black-attired people as they surrounded them. Lu Jingshan narrowed his eyes as he sensed danger brewing. He stretched out his arm and drew a honed sword as he stared at Wang Xian coldly. With a stern look, the guests from Lu family fixed their eyes on the 50 people who emerged out of nowhere. A small amount of cold sweat broke out from their faces. They were already aghast that Miracle Dr. Wang could gather all the people from Rivertown. They did not expect he could gather Maniac Ji, let alone a group of more than 50 black-attired men who surrounded the area. They might not be aware of their strength, but they could tell that this bunch of people were not ordinary given the killing and imposing vibe they exuded. Besides, the brave act of besieging the Lu family already proved their strength. On the other hand, people from Lan family were dumbfounded and appalled as they watched the event unfold. They did not expect that the political marriage of Lan and Lu family would have such developments. Dazedly, they fixed their eyes upon that young man who had apparently engaged in some entanglement with Qingyue. Initially, they thought this young man would be easily killed by Lu family. Never did they expect things would turn out this way. Experts emerged and eventually besieged them all. They were dazzled as that young man seemed like he wanted to annihilate Lu family. These must be the forces behind him. It's much more formidable than I thought. Sect leader Tan was stunned as he looked at Maniac Ji and the group of black-attired men around him. But he was glad that he had made this choice. Chapter 192, Annihilation 2. The crowd from Rivertown behind Wang Xian looked on silently. Although they knew the strength of the Dragon King, they were still slightly surprised to see the sudden appearance of Maniac Ji. Wang Xian smiled and looked towards the Lu family and the crowd behind them. The Lu family targeted me, and I'm only going to target them. However, if you choose to take action, I wouldn't mind going on a killing spree. Wang Xian revealed a murderous look and looked at Lu Feiyun, who was on the stage. Oh, little Sword Celestial, who has inherited the will of the Sword Celestial. Let me see your true strength. Wang Xian spoke sarcastically. Behind him, a Dragonian walked directly towards Lu Feiyun. He had a young look and was younger than Lu Feiyun. Do you really think that this is your home ground and you can be so brazen? Seeing Wang Xian's confident look that seemed to have treated him as prey, Lu Jingshan revealed a cold look. He lifted the long sword in his hand slowly and spread a strong aura towards the surroundings. Bam bam bam. The cups and plates on the table rattled and made a loud sound. Members of the Lan family quickly moved to the side in horror. The crowd behind the Lu family was hesitating. Looking at the current situation, it was clear that the Lu family was the passive side. The strength of the 50-odd people that surrounded them was unknown. They didn't know how to make a decision, nor did they dare to make a decision. Feeling the strong aura from old Lu, everyone's attention turned to Maniac Ji. As long as the battle between inborn experts was decided, the victorious side would be clear. Maniac Ji, I would like to see how strong you really are. If you help him this time, you will be the archenemy of the Lu family. Lu Jingshan pointed his longsword at Maniac Ji. Hehe. You will be the second inborn expert that will die in my hands. Maniac Ji drew his longsword slowly, and wasn't wary of going toe-to-toe with Lu Jingshan. It's better if you leave this to the dragon sect. A domineering voice sounded. Bang! A black aura exploded instantly and coalesced into material form. What? The strong aura shocked everyone as they looked at the old man standing at the entrance. The old man lifted his head. The surrounding black aura masked his appearance, but the horrifying aura he emitted suppressed an area spanning over 1,000 meters. A heart-wrenching power could be felt from the old man as the crowd shivered. Even Maniac Ji or Lu Jingshan did not give them such a strong sense of suppression. So strong! Maniac Ji's hand was shivering. He looked in shock at the old man emitting black aura as he clenched his longsword even tighter. Inborn expert! It's another inborn expert! A guest of the Lu family couldn't contain himself and exclaimed. That young man had managed to summon 2 inborn experts. Inborn! Members of the Lu family felt their hearts skipped a beat. Dull clouds cast a shadow over their minds as they stared fervently at Mo Qinglong. Lu Jingshan, who was holding a longsword in his hand, could feel perspiration breaking out of his palm as he looked at Mo Qinglong in disbelief. 2 inborn experts. They had to face 2 inborn experts while facing off against a small river town. Moreover, these 2 inborn experts were both summoned by the same young man. Lu Jingshan's face sank. That horrifying old man had locked onto him with his aura. He was sure that if he moved, the other party would definitely attack him. Moreover, he felt that he wouldn't be a match for this old man. This made his heart pump violently. Little Sword Celestial of the Tyrannical Sword? Sword Celestial's inheritance? Mo Wuxia, level 8 martial artist, seeking your guidance. At this moment, a Dragonian walked up to the stage. He stared coldly at Lu Feiyun. His voice instantly drew the attention of the crowd. Everyone immediately turned around and looked at the stage. At that spot, a man even younger than Lu Feiyun was standing in front of Lu Feiyun. Lu Feiyun's expressions were changing rapidly. He took a glance at the old man with terrifying aura and perspiration covered his forehead, after which, he gripped his sword tightly as he looked to the young man in front of him. Miss Lan, be careful not to be injured. At this moment, sect leader Tang moved and appeared beside Lan Qingyue. Using his internal energy to cover her, he sent her towards Wang Xian. Xiao Xianyu, Lan Qingyue looked at Wang Xian, still feeling a little disheveled. I know that this isn't your own intention. Moreover, I will not let you marry a dead man today. Wang Xian smiled at Lan Qingyue and walked to her. Die! At this moment Lu Feiyun let out a loud roar. With a hideous look he charged towards Mo Wuxia. Mo Wuxia was unmoved. Looking at the constantly changing swordsmanship of Lu Feiyun, he extended his hand to take the attack directly. You must be courting death. Seeing Mo Wuxia was intending to use his body to take his attack directly, Lu Feiyun revealed a savage look. His swordplay turned even sharper. Bam bam bam. Sounds of metal clashing propagated. Mo Wuxia used his palm to take on the sharp sword directly before pushing forward with his entire body. This is bad. Lu Feiyun was shocked as horror filled his eyes. Bam! A palm hit Lu Feiyun heavily. Mo Wuxia followed up and stepped on Lu Feiyun with his feet as he stared coldly at him. How dare you offend the Dragon King with these meager skills? Mo Wuxia looked down on Lu Feiyun with contempt. Little sword celestial? Inheritance from the sword celestial? Trash. Lu Feiyun's eyes popped open and were filled with disbelief. This man who was even younger than him was surprisingly able to crush him easily. He had always been a proud person and even swore to make it to the top of the outstanding young heroes chart. However, what happened now made him feel utterly defeated. He was one of the top 20 on the outstanding young heroes chart, and yet he lost to an unknown young man easily. He tilted his head and stared at the young man who was looking at him with contempt. He was the little sword celestial who had received the inheritance of the sword celestial. He was supposed to become an inborn expert in the future. Bam! However, an intense pain cruised throughout him at this moment as he felt his consciousness slipping away from him slowly. Feiyun! Feiyun! The members of the Lu family were aghast as they looked in horror at Lu Feiyun, who was lying on the elevated stage. Wang Xian looked at the members of the Lu family coldly and remarked, "If one tries to kill me, I'll definitely kill him. Lu Feiyun sent people to assassinate me and my kin. I'll be returning these right now." His voice propagated to everyone's ears. Everyone in the Lu family was horrified. What he meant was that Feiyun wanted to kill him and his family. Therefore, he would also kill Feiyun and all his family members. "Qingyue, it's going to get bloody. Let's leave this place," Wang Xian said to Lan Qingyue gently. Lan Qingyue looked at him blankly. Shortly after, tears streamed down her cheeks as she nodded her head heavily. Chapter 193. Annihilation 3. The sun was shining. A gust of cool breeze drifted over, cooling the summer. When the cool breeze came off the engagement ceremony at Flowing Water Villa, it was a bone-piercing chill. All of them watched as the young man and girl took their leave while the black-attired men slowly closed up the blockade. "You want to destroy Lu family?" Lu Jingshan clenched his long sword tightly with a ghastly look as he swept his gaze across the black, imposing old man and maniac Ji. "Miracle Dr. Wang cured my son. You can only blame your grandson for this." Maniac Ji drew his long saber slowly as his body gave off an immense killing aura. Unexpected. A mere miracle doctor of Rivertown could summon 2 inborn experts. What a surprise. Lu Jingshan let out distasteful laughter. Apparently, he misunderstood that the people of Dragon Sect also owed Wang Xian their favor. He swept his gaze across all the people. "Destroying Lu family? I'm afraid it is not that simple." "I'll wipe out your entire family instantly." Mo Qinglong looked at Lu Jingshan with a disdainful look. As he spoke, he struck. "Run! Get out of here! Get out of here!" Lan family and the rest of the guests fled in all directions with fear when they saw how the situation developed. The battle of inborn experts was not something they could participate in. If they got involved, they'd either get seriously injured or die. "Why didn't you tell me when such serious things like this happened to you?" Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue strode to one of the rooms and turned a deaf ear to the devastating screams behind them. "Why should I?" Lan Qingyue looked over her shoulder and returned a question. Wang Xian drew a bitter smile on his face. It seemed like Lan Qingyue still bore grudges over his choice of Guan Shuqing. "But for what you did today, I'll forgive you." Lan Qingyue hesitated as she saw his smile. "But Lu family." "Leave the Lu family to them. Don't worry. I'm not afraid of them." Wang Xian chuckled and continued, "We'll settle your family's affairs together. When people learn about what happened today, Lingyue sect and Zhou family wouldn't dare to play any tricks. If they did, there's nothing to fear either." "Thank you, Xiao Xian." Lan Qingyue stopped and looked at him as she was touched. Wang Xian grinned. "A red wedding gown would suit you better. Wear the red one next time." Lan Qingyue slightly blushed when she heard his comment. She reached out her hands to hug him gently. Wang Xian revealed a thrilled expression as he hugged her tightly. He whispered in her ear, "You must be tired from the last few days. Why don't we enjoy ourselves for a few days? I'll take you out to sea." "Sure, I'll call my parents to tell them that I'm having a break for the next few days." Lan Qingyue struggled out of his hug and stretched herself. She then ran to the room next door with a beaming face and took out her phone to call her parents. Hello, Qingyue? Are you okay? Lan Qingyue's father held his phone as he watched Lu Jingshan spit out fresh blood in the air. He asked this with trepidation. Dad, I'm going out with Xiaoxian for a few days. These last few days have been tiring for me. I want to have a good rest. Lan Qingyue spoke in a joyful mood. Sure. Go and have fun with Miracle Dr. Wang. You don't have to worry about anything. Lan Qingyue's father quickly agreed. Since his daughter had gotten such capable boyfriend, why the hell would they want to continue with the political marriage with Lu family? What's more, they were almost dead now. So long as they befriended Miracle Dr. Wang, Lan family was not afraid of Zhou family and Lingyue sect. Besides, the Miracle Dr. Wang was obviously much easier to get along with than the Lu family. I'm done, Xiaoxian. Let's go. I want to relax for a few days. Lan Qingyue changed out of her wedding gown and came to Wang Xian with thrills all over her face. She looked like she was a little carefree girl. Let's go. We'll go out to the sea. The yacht that I bought a few days ago just arrived today, Wang Xian said with a smile. Sure, let's go to the sea. I'm going to swim, surf and fish, Lan Qingyue exclaimed with excitement. Sure, let's go. Wang Xian held her hand and went outside. Lan Qingyue was only 22 years old now, and she should not be responsible for the entire group. She should not endure a marriage that she hated. She should be learning and having fun in school without a single worry. Wow, what a beautiful villa and yacht. They took a car to the villa that sat right next to the sea. Lan Qingyue was animated as soon as she saw the villa and the yacht. I'll pick up something from the house. As Wang Xian spoke, he went into the villa and picked up swimsuits, red wine, tea leaves and some supplies. Qingyue, let's head out to the sea. Wang Xian brought her to the yacht. What a beautiful yacht. It's much better than the one my dad bought. Lan Qingyue looked at the luxury yacht that was over 30 meters long with an ebullient expression. The yacht was divided into 2 levels. The ground floor had a sofa, kitchen, dining area, and it was quite spacious. There were 4 rooms on the second floor. A 30-meter-long yacht had a floor area that was larger than an average house. Xiaoxian, can you drive a yacht? Lan Qingyue asked as she roamed around the yacht. Ahem, I think there should be driving instructions. I'm quite smart, so there shouldn't be any problems. Driving a yacht required a license too, but Wang Xian believed he could handle it. Haha, let's do it together. Lan Qingyue followed behind Wang Xian with much interest. Wang Xian took the operating manual. He was examining the brand new yacht with a beaming face. The oil tank is full. Let's set out now. With a smiling face, Wang Xian began to operate the yacht as it sailed slowly out to the sea. Be careful, Xiaoxian. You're maneuvering it without a license. Lan Qingyue said, grinning. Haha, don't worry. Leave this to me. Let's go somewhere shallow first before we go further out. We can enjoy ourselves for the next 2 to 3 days, said Wang Xian with a smile. Sure. The yacht continued to sail across the sea. As a first-timer, Wang Xian did not dare to drive it too fast. But without knowing, he actually drove them to somewhere near the Dragon Sect Island. He hesitated and stopped the yacht. Let's stop and check out this place. Okay, I want to catch some fish. How about having fish for dinner? There is diving equipment on the yacht. We can dive and catch some lobsters for dinner. I don't dare to do that. Is the water deep over here? Will there be any sharks? Haha, how can there be? Let's go. I'll take you out for a swim. Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue changed into diving suits and dived underwater freely. Swimming, diving, and fishing. Wang Xian even caught some lobsters and crabs for dinner. Chapter 194. Fish Tornado and the Ichthyosaur. Wang Xian accompanied Lan Qingyue till 9+ at night. He had initially intended to sleep with the lady but was ruthlessly pushed out with the doors locked. Wang Xian smiled bitterly as he walked to the first floor. Walking to the deck, he looked to the faraway seas. He could sense that Lan Qingyue had fallen asleep on the second floor. She had barely slept over the last 2 days and was finally able to get a good rest today. It will be at least 10 hours before Lan Qingyue wakes up. Wang Xian thought to himself. He hesitated for a moment before removing his clothes and throwing them onto the sofa. Bam! Wang Xian leaped into the skies and dived into the seas. Moving his body, he transformed into a 6-meter-long divine dragon in an instant. Prime Minister Turtle and Roving Girl are just around the corner. Let's summon them over. Wang Xian looked around and let out a dragon roar to the surroundings. Growl! Growl! Soon replies were heard. Wang Xian could see Prime Minister Turtle, Roving Girl, Roving Lobster and Roving Heavens with his group of devil monkeys swimming towards him. At the forefront, the 9 venomous sea snakes were the fastest as they approached Wang Xian at an astonishing speed. Greetings, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle, Roving Heavens, Roving Girl, Roving Lobster and the rest bowed respectfully in front of Wang Xian. Wang Xian looked at the 800 devil monkeys and could sense their improvements in strength. He couldn't help but reveal a satisfied look. Behind Prime Minister Turtle and Roving Lobster, there was a group of sea turtles and large lobsters following them. These sea turtles and lobsters looked extremely lively. The sizes of these lobsters were all around a meter, and their 2 huge claws looked extremely destructive. These were all subordinates of the Prime Minister Turtle and Roving Lobster. Let's make use of the night to go deeper into further sea regions to look for resources required for leveling up. Wang Xian thought to himself. Wang Xian looked at the yacht a short distance away. He hesitated for a moment before ordering the Prime Minister Turtle, drag the yacht along. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded his head and swam below the yacht. Although the 30 meters long yacht was heavy, Prime Minister Turtle was able to easily drag it along on the water surface. Wang Xian was a little worried about Lan Qingyue. He went to the second floor quietly and used dragon energy to calm her body and make her enter deep sleep. If there weren't huge disturbances, she would only wake up after 10 hours. Let's head towards the deeper sea region. Wang Xian dived into the seas once again and gave his orders. Wang Xian had searched the entire Bohai Sea. Up to this point, other than the huge level 12 devil flowers that weren't finished off, the other areas had been combed. The Bohai Sea wasn't big. With their speed, they only used 3 hours to reach the Yellow Sea. Wang Xian noticed a sudden and drastic change in the underwater world ahead of him. The depth of the Yellow Sea was approximately 40 meters deep on average. The deeper region could reach a depth of over 80 meters. The entire Yellow Sea was very broad and was several times the size of the Bohai Sea. At this moment, the region where Wang Xian was at was approximately 50 meters deep. This was the first time he came to such a deep sea region. Under the waters it was pitch black at night. Seagrass was common and the variety of fish was much higher than the Bohai Sea. This place is much more comfortable. I always feel that I could barely move in the Bohai Sea. Wang Xian swayed his body within the 50 meters deep sea as he swam around freely. There's a school of sharks ahead. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and focused on the 20-odd sharks 1,000 meters away. These sharks were all 4 to 5 meters long and gave off a violent aura as they swam domineeringly in the sea. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. He got moving and swam towards the school of sharks directly. Big white sharks. Level 5. Extractable dragon energy. 534. That's over 10,000 points of dragon energy from 20 sharks. Haha. This is something the Bohai Sea couldn't match up to. Wang Xian was thrilled. Sea monsters in deep waters weren't simply a myth. The resources in the entire Yellow Sea were at least a dozen or even a few dozen times more than the Bohai Sea. When my subordinates and I get stronger, I'll head to the real seas for an adventure. I wonder if there will be terrifying creatures at a depth of 10,000 feet underwater? Are there other races living in the pitch-black darkness within the seas? Are ancient marine animals still surviving at the bottom of the seas? Wang Xian was getting excited from these thoughts. The sea regions were largely unexplored by humans. In the near future, he would be exploring the entire seas and become the ruler of the seas. Wang Xian was filled with ambition. He let out a soft roar and his subordinates swam over quickly. Let's explore the Yellow Sea, Wang Xian ordered. His gaze was fixed in front of him as he led his subordinates to conquer the unknown sea region. The seabed of the Yellow Sea wasn't too different from the Bohai Sea. Both had flat grounds and areas where it was a little more mountainous. However, the scenery of the Yellow Sea was grander and more beautiful than the Bohai Sea. Devour, devour, devour. There were many species of fish around him. There were little yellow croaker, hairtail fish, Pacific mackerel, Spanish mackerel, yellow drumfish, slender shadfish, Pacific herrings, pomfrets, codfish, and many others. Moving around, Wuxia devoured all the fish he came across. In just 2 hours he had gained more than 17,000 points of dragon energy. Just 42,000 points of dragon energy more, and I'll level up. Let's try to increase my level by the end of the night. Wuxia thought to himself and turned his attention ahead. The area in front of him was different from the darkness of the surrounding seas. It was full of marine animals that were glowing. The glowing marine animals illuminated the bottom of the seas. Moving his body, Wuxia headed towards it. When he approached the illuminated region, he was shocked by what he saw. Fish tornado. It's a humongous fish tornado. There were at least a few 100,000 to a few million fish gathered here and swimming in circles like a tornado under the water. Wuxia squinted his eyes and stared fervently at this fish tornado. If I devour all the fish here, I'll gain at least a few 100,000 points of dragon energy. Wuxia's eyes lit up and he immediately ordered, surround the entire school of fish. The entire fish tornado spanned over 1,000 meters. Wuxia wasn't able to dominate the entire school with his dragon power. Moreover, he noticed that there were several unique fish species in the middle of the fish tornado. They had a terrifying size and every one of them was at least 7 to 8 meters. They also had flat heads with sharp mouths. Their mouths were approximately 2 meters long with rows of sharp teeth exposed that gave off an eerie glow. What's that fish? Wuxia was filled with doubt. These 4 to 5 unique fish swam in the middle of the fish tornado like the kings of the school. Around them, densely packed herrings, Pacific mackerel and Spanish mackerel seemed to be honoring them as their kings. Wuxia swayed his tail and started his hunt. This would be his first battle towards conquering the Yellow Sea. Chapter 195. Ichthyosaurs. There were thousands of species hidden in the deep sea, occupying 70% of planet Earth, and the secrets were far more than any human could imagine. The ocean has always been an unexplored area for humans. Wuxia stared at the fish tornado before him with fervent eyes and a relaxed expression on his face. 800 devil monkeys went up slowly to surround the fish tornado. Food hunting. This was the way for any living beings to evolve. Whoever can hunt to the last would be the most powerful being remaining. Wuxia jerked his divine dragon's body and charged out to the school of fish at a daunting speed. Dragon power. Boom! An invisible force encompassed the area, spanning 1,000 kilometers as though the king had arrived. The entire school of swirling fish suddenly froze. Wuxia opened his mouth and devoured the school of fish before him. Herring, Pacific mackerels and Spanish mackerels converted to dragon energy in his belly at a rapid rate. Boom! The entire fish tornado was in chaos as they fled crazily in all directions. Located in the middle of the school of fish, another type of fish teetered their huge bodies as they stared at Wuxia with a ferocious look. They swayed their tails and charged towards him. Sensing the impetus of the 5 odd-looking fish types, Wuxia revealed a surprising look on his face. The 5 odd-looking fish were covered with layers of palm-sized fish scales which looked heavy in the water. Ichthyosaurs. Level 9. Extractable dragon energy. 49,642. Ichthyosaurs. It's the legendary ichthyosaurs. When the 5 odd-looking fish were dashing towards him, their information appeared in Wuxia's mind. Ichthyosaurs belonged to an ancient fish group. According to the current historical study, they could have even existed way before the dinosaurs. Based on the records, a large ichthyosaurs could reach more than 20 meters long. The current 5 ichthyosaurs before him were only about 10 meters. 5 ichthyosaurs could provide me with more than 200,000 points of dragon energy. Haha, not bad. Wuxia was thrilled as he launched an attack at the 5 ichthyosaurs without any fear. Bam! A ichthyosaur swam fast and furiously towards him with a gaping mouth that was 3 meters wide. Within its mouth it was densely packed with teeth that looked terrifying. Ka ka ka. Wang Xian stretched out his metal-like dragon claw which scratched the top of that ichthyosaur's mouth. Hiss! The razor-edged dragon claw ripped the mouth of the ichthyosaurs. Blood splattered in all directions. Growl! Upon seeing that Wang Xian had wounded their companion, the other 4 ichthyosaurs opened their mouths and attempted to bite him. Grew! Wang Xian swung his tail, shaking the surroundings violently. Soon after, 4 solidified water balloons appeared at his tail. Each of them was 1 meter in size, giving off an emerald blue luster in the sea. Bam 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 bam. 4 water balloons emerged in front of the 4 ichthyosaurs instantly and landed in their mouths. Boom! The water balloons exploded, and the 4 ichthyosaurs were dripping blood from their mouths. Wang Xian stretched out his dragon claw at one of the ichthyosaurs again. SSSS. Another sound of a tear was heard. Given Wang Xian's current level, he possessed the same strength as an average level 11 marine animal. 5 ichthyosaurs were under his brutal torture. I don't have time to waste on you. Wang Xian saw millions of fish fleeing away in all directions. Even with 800 devil monkeys surrounding the area, many fish still managed to make their escape. He made a swift move and inflicted severe damage to the 4 ichthyosaurs. He then moved around to devour the escaping fish. Dragon power encompassed the area as he swallowed the fish and converted them into dragon energy. After half an hour, there were no more fish left, only dead silence. Wang Xian made a swift move and came to the 5 ichthyosaurs. They were bigger than Wang Xian by many times with 10-meter-long bodies. He opened his mouth and fed on the ichthyosaurs. He only managed to swallow them all after chewing a dozen times. Haha! My dragon energy increased by 300,000 points instantly. I still need about 100,000 points before I can hit level 7. Wang Xian revealed his thrill. The higher level he got to, the better he could manage his control of the 5 elements. His strength would get stronger too. A level up was not solely about upgrading strength. It was more than that. Let's go. I must level up to 7 by the end of today. Wang Xian commanded his subordinates and swam forward. The surroundings were full of kelp while some glowing jellyfish were floating around. The sea was not as dark as it seemed at a depth of 50 meters deep. In the ocean, those deep waters with thousands of meters of depth were the place where darkness stayed. Sunlight could only reach hundreds of meters. How wonderful it would be if I could find other ichthyosaurs. Wang Xian had been swimming forward. Probably due to the fish tornado, the number of fish within dozens of miles was significantly reduced. What's that? A shipwreck? I mean a bunch of shipwrecks? Wang Xian was slightly stupefied by a large number of shipwrecks in front of him. The sails were broken, lying around disorderly in the sea. Some of the ships had half of their bodies caught at the bottom of the seabed. Furthermore, Wang Xian noticed some strange plants were growing on some of the ships. It was rather peculiar. There's something strange about the place before us. Just then Wang Xian narrowed his eyes. He peered at the front then to the back. Both of them gave him a different vibe as though they were 2 distinct regions. Dragon King. It's the territory of other creatures ahead of us. Roving Heavens took his rod to Wang Xian and told Wang Xian with wary eyes, gazing at the place before them. Territory of other creatures. Wang Xian looked at Roving Heavens with some doubts. There are many creatures in the ocean. They will gather and occupy a region. Based on the size of the region, it will reflect the strength of the group. Roving Heavens observed the place ahead and said with a stern look, the region ahead is not any smaller than our devil monkeys. Since other marine life does not dare to come close, it means that a dominant race exists in this place. Oh! Wang Xian nodded his head slowly. Most of the living creatures were living in groups. They could occupy one place and rule the land. Same logic for the ocean. An eerie silence filled the area ahead. Obviously, it was the territory of a race. The battle of territory. Wang Xian looked behind as the devil monkeys gathered behind him. Prime Minister Turtle pulled the yacht to the side and came to the bottom of the sea. Roving Girl and Roving Lobster were gazing ahead. We fight. Forward. Wang Xian was also bursting with fighting spirit as he swam slowly forward. Roving Heavens, Prime Minister Turtle, 9 venomous sea snakes, and the 800 devil monkeys were following solemnly behind him as they marched towards the region. Who dares to step into the ichthyosaur's family's territory? Just then a muffled voice was heard. The voice was not human, but a unique transmission through spirits. Wang Xian could understand such spirit waves. He stopped and looked ahead. Roving Heavens and the rest stopped their motions too. A gigantic ichthyosaur, 15 meters long, floated out from one of the shipwrecks with a domineering demeanor. Chapter 196 War. Get out of our territory or die. This ichthyosaur had its attention fixed on Wang Xian and his subordinates. His gaze was cold and filled with bloodlust. So strong. It's much stronger than the 5 ichthyosaurs we met previously. Feeling the aura from the ichthyosaur, Wang Xian was a little shocked. This ichthyosaur had clearly manifested intelligence, and its level would definitely not be any lower than 10. It had a huge body that spanned 15 meters and gave off chilly vibes. Surrender or die. Wang Xian stared at that ichthyosaur and growled. Growl, growl, growl. When ichthyosaur heard Wang Xian, it immediately lifted his head and let out 3 cries. Waves emitted from his mouth and propagated to the surroundings. At that instant, the quiet region seemed to have livened up. In a sunken ship a small distance away, 2 ichthyosaurs that were approximately 3 to 4 meters long swam out. From a 40-50 meter long sunken ship, an ichthyosaur that spanned over 10 meters swam out. At the same time, ichthyosaurs swam out from various sunken ships in the surroundings. Among them, the smallest was 2 to 3 meters long, while the larger ones spanned 15 to 16 meters. At the very end, a 17 to 18 meters long ichthyosaur swam out from the depth of the waters. Gradually, the school of ichthyosaurs appeared at the location 500 meters ahead of Wang Xian. Ichthyosaurs of various sizes added up to 600 to 700 of them. Among them, there were 20 to 30 of them that were approximately 10 meters long, 3 that were approximately 15 meters and 1 that was 17 to 18 meters long. How dare you barge into our territory? I'm going to eat you. That 17 to 18 meters long ichthyosaur stared fervently at Wang Xian. It could feel a strong attraction from Wang Xian. Its instincts were telling him that if he could devour this strange creature, it would be able to evolve further. Kill! That huge ichthyosaur swayed its large tail and ordered. In that instant, all the ichthyosaurs opened their wide mouths and attacked Wang Xian. How ruthless of them to attack us directly. Seeing the 17 to 18 meters long ichthyosaur, Wang Xian moved his tail slowly. Kill! A dragon roar burst from Wang Xian. Growl! Roving Heavens lifted the rod in his hand and let out a long roar. Growl! The group of devil monkeys behind it also let out a loud roar while emitting their bloodlust. SSS SSS SSS. The 9 venomous sea snakes lifted their heads and spat out their tongues. BZZZ. Prime Minister Turtle, who had been lying on the seabed, shook a little as his body was covered by the mud gradually. Roving Lobster stood up and extended his huge claws that glowed with a metallic shine. Bang! Wang Xian headed for the ichthyosaur directly ahead of him. Behind him, Roving Heavens, 9 venomous sea snakes, Prime Minister Turtle and the group of devil monkeys also made their moves. There were over 1,000 animals from both sides, but the aura they gave off seemed to be 10 times their sizes. Swish swish swish. Wang Xian swayed his tail and 2 huge water balls gathered behind him. Each water ball was approximately 2 meters, and was shot directly at the ichthyosaur at the front of the school. I'm going to devour you. The 17 to 18 meters long ichthyosaur wasn't moved by Wang Xian's attacks at all. It flapped its tail rapidly and swam past Wang Xian's head directly. Bam! The water balls exploded. Ichthyosaur. Level 11. Extractable dragon energy. 293,244. Level 11. When Wang Xian saw the level of this ichthyosaur, he wasn't surprised at all. He kept his composure as his dragon claws glowed in a metallic shine and attacked that ichthyosaur. The 17 to 18 meters long ichthyosaur had a head that was 5 to 6 meters long. On it, densely packed teeth were the size of a fist and looked extremely sharp. Its entire head had similar skin to a crocodile with protruding portions on the head. Its size was more than 3 times that of Wuxian. Growl. Bam! Sounds of collision propagated as Wuxian's dragon claws clashed with its mouth. Its teeth were ripped off directly by Wuxian's dragon claw. The ichthyosaur didn't let go of Wuxian's dragon claws. In response, Wuxian emitted flames from his claws and forced it to relax its grip rapidly. Take this rod from me. At this moment, Roving Heavens and the rest were clashing with the school of ichthyosaurs. Roving Heavens lifted its metal rod like the great sage, equaling heaven in television shows, and smashed directly at the 15 meters long ichthyosaur. Limitless gravel. At the bottom of the seas, a wave of yellow earth suddenly engulfed the dozen ichthyosaurs ahead. Amidst the yellow earth were solid stones that were sent towards the school of ichthyosaur directly. Water control. Water imprisonment. Behind the group, Roving Girl moved her palms as ropes of water restricted the mouths of the ichthyosaurs. As she waved her hands, droplets of water appended themselves to the devil monkeys rushing towards the earth sent by Prime Minister Turtle, and prevented their vision from being blurred by the yellow earth. 800 devil monkeys leaped and attacked towards the ichthyosaurs. However, the most horrifying of them all were the 9 venomous sea snakes. Their speed was astonishing and they used potent venom. When moving at full speed, the surrounding ichthyosaurs couldn't keep up with their speed at all. With every bite, venom was injected into the ichthyosaurs that stiffened their bodies. In fact, ichthyosaurs that were smaller than 10 meters were poisoned to death directly. The 9 venomous sea snakes were like assassins and were extremely frightening. You guys are seeking your own deaths. Picking up the scent of blood from the surroundings, the 17 to 18 meters long ichthyosaur looked over and saw its kind being slain. Its eyes gradually turned red. It was a creepy shade of red that had a drop of blue liquid within it. Wuxian was shocked to see the change in the eyes of the ichthyosaur and increased his alertness. Growl. The ichthyosaur stared at Wuxian with bloodthirst as it attacked him. Wuxian kept his composure and met it with his dragon claws. Bang! At this moment, the ichthyosaur initiated the attack with its tail. The swing of its tail brought strong current that was of at least several tons of force. Wuxian was unmoved and swayed his own tail. A huge current started forming as it smashed towards the ichthyosaur's tail. Growl. Seeing that its tail attack was stopped by Wuxian, the ichthyosaur opened its mouth and bit towards Wuxian's body. Die! Wuxian waved his dragon's claws downwards towards the large and extended jaws of the ichthyosaur. Ka. Wuxian's dragon claws opened a long wound on the ichthyosaur's head. However, the ichthyosaur managed to bite onto his tail. An intense pain sensation cruised in his body. Wuxian immediately broke free and swam backwards. The ichthyosaur felt the pain and retreated in a hurry. Why did the ichthyosaur choose to bite my tail of all places? Seeing his dragon tail that was about to break into 2, Wuxian's face sank. Energy of the azure dragon covered his wounds on his tail, and he was recovering gradually. Wuxian looked at the ichthyosaur and noticed the blood-red eyes were shimmering in a brighter glow as it stared intensely at him. Chapter 197 Victory. The eyes of the ichthyosaur must have a special ability. Wuxian stared at its eyes. Somehow he had a feeling of getting seen through by them. It was a peculiar kind of feeling. It was as though it could see his weakness and attack it. When the creatures hit level 10 and 11, they will develop their own special ability. In particular level 11, as they would definitely possess their own ability for sure. Wuxian pondered. Level 10 was already an inborn expert while level 11 was considered to be a realm above inborn realm. This was beyond an average human's scope since they possessed unique means. The ichthyosaur in front had a special pair of eyes which could spot any weaknesses. Roar! Just when Wuxian was having his thoughts, the ichthyosaur relaunched its attack. The gigantic mouth tried to bite his tail again. Due to the difference in mass, Wuxian had difficulties dodging it. Looking for my weakness. Wuxian squinted his eyes. With a violent jerk, the colors on his body began to change. Eventually he turned to a metallic, Golden Divine Dragon. His entire body was gold, giving off a faint metallic shine in the sea. Metal Divine Dragon had a weaker defense, but a more powerful attack than the Earth Divine Dragon. When the ichthyosaur saw the transformation of Wang Xian, it revealed a shock in its eyes. Through its vision, it was shocked to find out that the fellow before it seemed like a piece of metal without any weaknesses. Even his eyes were golden pupils. All the body parts were indestructible. Sure enough, this ichthyosaur must have read the weakness on me. Wang Xian observed the expression of the ichthyosaur and spoke to himself. He stretched out his dragon claw, opened his golden dragon mouth and launched an attack. Bam! To meet force with force was the most primitive way of combating. But as soon as Wang Xian attacked, there was a sharp radiance of 1 meter long extending out from his pair of dragon claws. He slashed it at the ichthyosaur. Hiss! The razor-sharp metal aura enveloped and cut the body of the ichthyosaur, leaving wounds of 1 meter long on its body. Wang Xian displayed a cold look as he stared at ichthyosaur with wariness. His body swayed as he was ready to strike again at any time. Roar! The ichthyosaur roared with rage. Growl! At this time, devastating shrieks were heard from the side. That ichthyosaur was shocked as he began to observe the surroundings. Suddenly, he realized that 3 15 meters long ichthyosaurs were falling apart under the joint attack of roving heavens, Prime Minister Turtle and 9 venomous sea snakes. All of them were wounded and blood was everywhere. Those 10-meter-long ichthyosaurs were attacked by 2-meter-sized lobsters which were gleaming with a metallic glow from head to toe. They were wielding their pincers in the assault. Half of the smaller ones were either wounded or killed. The bunch of devil monkeys gave off demonic flames, accompanied by fearsome attacks. Their bodies were covered by black scales which looked extremely creepy. Every devil monkey looked more like a hideous devil. Roar! The 17-meter-long ichthyosaur let out a mournful growl. His eyes got redder, and his body exuded icy cold luster as he glared at Wang Xian. Hehe. I can upgrade my level after I eat you up. Wang Xian also returned him a pair of cold stares. Dragon King! Dragon King! Just then, Prime Minister Turtle swam slowly below him. Roving heavens came to the left while the 9 venomous sea snakes were swimming around him. All of them were staring at the 17-meter-long ichthyosaur. Kill it! Wang Xian immediately issued orders. Prime Minister Turtle took the first move to make a group of earth thorns slowly surface on the water, swiftly launching an attack with it. Roving Heaven swung his rod in his hand and smashed the ichthyosaur. 9 venomous sea snakes moved at a frightening speed and darted out. Wang Xian was moving his tail as he exuded a metallic aura. Roar! The ichthyosaur was petrified as it could not resist the most vigorous assault from the Dragon Palace. Bam bam bam! Blood splattered as Roving Heaven swung his rod hard on the head of the ichthyosaur. Wang Xian made a swift move and bit the ichthyosaur's body as he swallowed it in big gulps. A mouthful of flesh and blood turned into immense dragon energy. Growl! The ichthyosaur let out a despairing scream before its vitality quickly disappeared. Wang Xian swallowed the 17-meter-long ichthyosaur, weighing dozens of tons, entirely in a minute. His dragon claws grabbed the pair of ichthyosaur's eyeballs and continued to devour other ichthyosaurs around him, ignoring the system notifications and the increase in his body mass. Dragon energy was rising at a crazy speed. The battle of the races often brings massive benefits to the ones who win the victory. After Wang Xian devoured more than hundreds of ichthyosaurs, his dragon energy increased to more than 1 million points. Currently, his body grew to 7 meters long. Name Wang Xian. Race: 5 elements Divine Dragon. Able to transform into a human. Level 7. Dragon Energy 1563. 421/10000000. Superpower: dominate the marine animals, ability to rule any marine animals that are lower than the existing level. Devour any form of marine animals, for extraction of dragon energy. 5 elements control. Art of Cultivation. Divine Dragon Transformation. Finally, I promoted my level. Wang Xian looked at his own attributes and was thrilled about it. He rocked his body as he felt the mightiness from the divine dragon body. Now, it should be a lot easier to deal with that ichthyosaur. I can even fight level 12 creatures, Wang Xian thought to himself. He transformed himself into a 5-colored divine dragon. Wang Xian glanced around and noticed a bunch of devil monkeys chewing the smaller ichthyosaur's dead bodies. He ignored them. This is the law of the jungle. Devouring some powerful creatures could enhance some strength and bring about many benefits. Wang Xian swam towards the shipwrecks ahead of him. He breathed out earth dragon aura from his mouth, unveiling all the shipwrecks in front of him. Treasure! When he saw the chests in it, he was exhilarated. With his claw, he opened it immediately. Unfortunately, they contained calligraphy and paintings which had already turned into scraps. He opened another chest and found silver inside. Silver. Just nice, we're short on that. Wang Xian was satisfied with his find. Just then the system notification arrived. He pondered before he collected all the silver. He continued to search the rest of the shipwrecks and found silver in the chests and a small portion of gold. These plants. Wang Xian came to the plants which he had noticed when he arrived here just now. The plants grew on the ships, glistening and looking alluring. They were very eye-catching. 5 tufts were found on the central shipwreck. Another 5 to 6 tufts were located at the side. When he arrived before these plants, a message appeared in his brain. Fish secretion grass. Level 5. Extractable dragon energy. 7,657. Level 5 spiritual medicines. They are level 5 spiritual medicines. No wonder the ichthyosaurs marked this place as their territory. It was all for the level 5 spiritual medicines. Wang Xian displayed slight surprise as he swam forward and picked the tufts of fish secretion grass up. With curiosity, he opened up the chest under the fish secretion grass and found some spoilt herbs in it. These fish secretion grasses must have been formed after the ship sank in the sea along with the gold, silver, and spiritual medicines a few thousand years ago. Dragon King, 25 devil monkeys died. And there were 108 casualties in this battle. At this moment, Roving Heavens came over and reported respectfully. We had more than 10 deaths. Wang Xian nodded his head. In wars, death is inevitable. The deaths of 25 devil monkeys was considered little. Wang Xian realized a problem after the battle just now. It was about war formation. Devil monkeys were the main force as the forward. Hence, it was inevitable to have deaths and casualties during close combat. But the Clam Girl's performance surprised him. The Clam Girl's long-range assistance could bring significant advantages to the devil monkeys who would engage in close combat. In the future, the 9 divisions of the Divine Dragon will create a formation. The Devil Division will be the forward. We need to have an auxiliary division, a long-range attack division, and a defense division just like the assistants, tankers, supports, mages, and scouts in a game. Wang Xian thought to himself. The 9 divisions of the Divine Dragon would be developing in this direction. The recruitment of subordinates would be in this direction as well. Hence, the ichthyosaurs with bulky attacks were not in his consideration. Chapter 198. Luxurious Cruise. Splash! Emerging from the seas, Wang Xian landed on the deck of the yacht with a smile. The sun had just risen. The rosy red sunlight shone on the surface of the seas, creating an exceptionally beautiful scene. Since leveling up, the disposition of a supreme ruler on Wang Xian became even denser. Each action of his was filled with noble airs. He wore his clothes and took a glance at the time. It was already 8+ in the morning. Sensing that Lan Qingyue was still asleep, he went to the kitchen and took out a piece of ichthyosaur meat. The meat was clear and had the aroma of meat. As the flesh of a level 10 marine animal, not only was it delicious but it was also highly nourishing to the body. Wang Xian sliced the fish and prepared some condiments, after which, he took out a bottle of red wine before heading to the second floor with a radiant smile. Qingyue, it's time to get up. What time is it now? A lazy voice sounded from the room. It's already past 8 in the morning and the sun has risen. Get up and have breakfast. Wang Xian replied with a grin. All right, Xiao Xian. I'll be down in a short while. Wang Xian returned to the kitchen and tidied the dining table. Wow, Xiao Xian, you have already made breakfast. When Lan Qingyue saw the food on the table as she walked down the stairs, her eyes lit up and she walked over cheerfully. Of course. Have some delicious sashimi. You definitely haven't eaten such delicious sashimi previously. Wang Xian replied in a gentlemanly manner. The weather is great outside. Having breakfast here is such a luxury. Lan Qingyue looked at the seas that were dyed red from the rays of the sun and was intoxicated by the scene. Have a little red wine, have some sashimi and a sunny side up. Wang Xian passed the food over and spoke with a smile. Thank you, Xiao Xian. What is this fish? It tastes so much better than Atlantic bluefin marlin. It's so delicious. Lan Qingyue looked at Wang Xian heartily and bliss was written all over her face. Wang Xian smiled and made up an answer. After finishing her breakfast, Lan Qingyue walked to the deck and observed the surroundings. Suddenly, she asked inquisitively, Xiao Xian, where are we? Where's the island that was near us last night? After you had fallen asleep yesterday, I steered it for a long time. Even I do not know where we are now. Let's just take things as they come. Wang Xian laughed and took a glance at the global positioning system through his phone. This. When Wang Xian saw where they were at, he was shocked. It seems like I have steered the ship to the public seas unknowingly. Wang Xian commented in shock. The public seas referred to regions that weren't supervised by any country. Public seas? Xiao Xian, you actually steered the ship for over 100 miles. That's pretty incredible. Lan Qingyue felt a little speechless with Wang Xian. Wang Xian laughed. It wasn't he who had steered the ship for over 100 miles. Instead, it was Prime Minister Turtle who had dragged the ship for over 100 miles. However, he naturally wouldn't tell Lan Qingyue about this. In the future, he might tell Lan Qingyue about his other identity. However, this wasn't the right time. The public seas aren't bad too since we are still going to tour around for another 2 days. Lan Qingyue smiled and asked, Xiao Xian, do you have a computer? What do you need a computer for? I have to check on some things for the company. You finally got out. Why are you concerned about the company now? Have a good time and you can worry about it when we get back. Wang Xian walked to her. This wouldn't do. In a few days, Jade Nation will have a jade betting festival. At that time, I have to head to Jade Nation to purchase jade stones. Lan Qingyue explained to Wang Xian. I don't have a computer. Therefore, I guess it's better if you just relax over the next 2 days. Wang Xian smiled and looked at her. Lan Qingyue pouted. Suddenly, something caught her eyes as she exclaimed, Xiao Xian, look! There's a huge cruise right there. There really is a cruise. Wang Xian looked over and indeed saw a cruise 500 to 600 meters away from him. The cruise ship was approximately 150 meters long and had 3 floors. It also looked extremely luxurious. What really surprised him was that the cruise ship was docked in the middle of the sea and surrounded by various yachts. That's the Venture, a public sea cruise of the gambling city. I heard that they have a casino on it with all kinds of interesting games and food. Lan Qingyue was shocked to see the cruise. Venture? Public sea cruise? Casino? Wang Xian looked on in astonishment. Yeah, I heard it from my parents. The truth is that there are in fact a lot of such gaming cruises in the public seas. Since it could cruise through the seas, it is natural that gambling is made possible on it. I heard that their services are pretty good, Lan Qingyue explained to Wang Xian. Oh, is it? Should we go take a look? Wang Xian hesitated for a moment. He looked to the surrounding yachts before asking. Sure. Some wealthy people steer their own yacht over since they might prefer to not follow the cruise. Why don't we go over? There should be a computer for use on the cruise. Lan Qingyue was also a little interested. All right, let's head there and take a look. This was also the first time Wang Xian heard of such cruises. He immediately nodded his head and steered the yacht towards the cruise. Stop your yacht on the seas. We will send a small boat over to receive you. Just as the yacht approached, the service attendant on the cruise shouted loudly at them to remind them. Wang Xian stopped the yacht and looked around him. Around the cruise, There was a special area marked out by nets as a swimming area. One could swim within the area without being wary about dangers. The safety precautions were ample and well done. What a thoughtful gaming facility, Wang Xian thought to himself. At this moment, a small boat approached them. Let's go, Xiao Xian, Lan Qingyue said to Wang Xian. The two of them jumped onto the small boat and boarded the cruise. Welcome to the Venture Cruise. Once they got onto the cruise, two beautiful waitresses welcomed them with radiant smiles. The floor was layered with red carpet and looked extremely grandiose. Wang Xian took out several $100 bills as tips for the service attendants around him before heading in. Hi, sir and miss. The first floor of our cruise is the gaming area. The second floor is where various entertainment facilities are located, while the third floor is where the rooms for our guests are. Once you get in, there will be guides dedicated to you. The service attendants smiled as they explained to them. Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue nodded their heads. Why don't we go have some fun on the first floor? This was the first time Wang Xian was in such a place, and he was thrilled as he asked Lan Qingyue. All right. Lan Qingyue nodded her head, and the two of them headed towards the entrance of the gaming area on the first floor. Once they entered, they noticed the grand decorations immediately. The entire floor was very spacious and spanned several thousand square meters. There were various gaming tables and machines available. To their surprise, the first floor had 300 to 400 people playing all kinds of games. Wang Xian looked ahead and saw things that he had only seen in movies. He rubbed his hands and got a little excited. Let's go test out our luck. Wang Xian smiled and said to Lan Qingyue. You can play. I'll just accompany you. Lan Qingyue replied with a smile. Great, let's go then. Chapter 199. You're garbage. Dice, blackjack, roulette, poker, slot machines, and many more games on the cruise. Casual betting is for fun. If it gets serious, one will lose the entire family's fortune. Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue came here to have some fun. It would be a pleasant experience for them too. Wang Xian had never been exposed to gambling before, so he was a little curious about it. But he was not expecting he could earn money with this. In fact, given Wang Xian's current ability, he was unable to make money with gambling as well. He was not the god of gamblers. He might possess a mighty strength, but this had no relationship with gambling skills. He did not have any supernatural power to change a card, just like how they did in the movies. In the movies, the actors memorized the cards. But even if Wang Xian had a good memory, this was not a movie after all. The bottom card could not be seen when the dealer shuffles the cards. In reality, the casinos would not cheat, except to earn money by using a certain probability. This probability could guarantee that they could make money out of it. Of course, each casino would have a gambling master to prevent others from cheating or making trouble in the casinos. Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue, with a beaming face, came to exchange 1 million worth of chips. Let's see if we can win some money, Lan Qingyue exclaimed with a smile. This isn't easy. Let's go and play something simple, Wang Xian said as he went to the sick bow table. Sick bow is a simple game that bets on the total scores of the dice. 4 to 10 total score will make a small, while 11 to 17 will make a big. You can even bet on specific scores and the payouts are different. Two of them came to the table with 6 people gathered around. They were placing bets and shouting big and small. Among them, some of the men were hugging young and beautiful women. Some of them wore low-cut dresses. They leaned their bodies on the men with alluring expressions. Finalize your bets now, the dealer said to the crowd around the table. When Wang Xian saw the crowd placing their bets, he looked over his shoulder and said to Lan Qingyue, let's play this. Big or small? Big. Lan Qingyue chuckled as she said. Okay, we'll bet $50,000 and try our luck. Wang Xian smiled and placed 5 chips on big. 1, 2, 4. 7 points small. After he placed the bets, the dealer opened the cage and counted the points before she announced the outcome to everyone. Oh, Xiao Xian, we lost. Upon seeing the result, Lan Qingyue pouted and spoke grumpily. Haha, it's fine. It's my turn. Wang Xian laughed as the dealer continued to roll the dice. With some hesitation he continued, "This time we'll still bet on big. 224. 8 points small." The result was out and Wang Xian was speechless. He'd lost again. "Your turn next," Wang Xian said with a bitter look on his face. "Sure." Lan Qingyue smiled. "Let's go somewhere else." After more than 10 consecutive rounds, they had lost $200,000. Wang Xian went to other gambling tables without any choices. "Sure, you really don't have the luck." I didn't lose that much." Wang Xian lost his words. "A loss is still a loss no matter how much you lose. There's a fishing slot machine over there. Let's play that." Wang Xian saw the fishing slot machines not far away from them. He had seen those in his hometown, but he had never tried before. After he played those machines, Wang Xian was left with only $200,000 worth of chips. He'd lost about $700,000 within an hour. He had to admit that gambling was losing more than winning. "We still have the last 20 chips. Let's get our base money back." Wang Xian was not too mindful about losing money. He went back excitedly to the place where they bet on the dice. There were 4 young men and 5 middle-aged men at the table. Wang Xian walked over and sat at the side. Lan Qingyue was standing and watching him play from the side with smiles. "Finalize your bets." The dealer's voice was heard again. Wang Xian looked around as he beamed. He then placed his bet on the small. 456. 15 points big. "Haha, I told you it's big again." At this moment a young man laughed out loud. He stood up and collected all the chips with a stuck-up look. "Awesome. You're indeed someone who uses hidden weapons." The few young men beside him praised him with envy. The young man immediately revealed a conceited look. He drew his lips slightly. "It is worth it to practice for so long. Finally I see some results. If you can place your attention on your cultivation, I'm sure you can surpass your current strength today," a young man quipped at him. "Why do people lead such tiring lives? Just have fun in the things you're interested in. No matter what, I don't have anything to worry about for the rest of my life." The young man was chic as he held a chip in his hand. Suddenly he looked at Lan Qingyue, who was diagonal across from him. "Right, beauty?" He flicked his finger, and the chip shot in a straight and precise direction to the clothes under Lan Qingyue's neck. "Haha, gambling and beauty. How cool is Brother Zhu?" The young men beside him chuckled and commented. "Piak." When Wang Xian saw the flying chip, he frowned and reached out to receive it. The chip said 20. That represented $200,000, which was the biggest denomination chip over here. "Do not litter." Wang Xian narrowed his eyes and threw the chip in the garbage bin at the side. The young man, who was laughing, drew his lips slightly when he saw Wang Xian throw his chip away after receiving it. He then sized Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue up with a face full of smiles. "Haha. You just got a slap in your face." The rest of the young men chuckled at what they saw. That young man waved his hand as he was not bothered by it. "Big or small? Finalize your bet." At this time the dealer was heard again. Wang Xian looked over and threw a few chips on the small. "Let's just place any bets." That young man looked at Wang Xian. Just now he did not listen to the sound of the dice. Hence, he just placed $200,000 worth of chips on big. 356. 14 points big. "Haha, my luck is good. I can even win when I just placed my bet anyhow." The young man chuckled once again. With a playful look, he stared at Wang Xian. "Brat, you're out of luck today." Wang Xian cast a cold glance at the young man and ignored him. "Xiao Xian, let's forget about them." Lan Qingyue popped over and reminded him with a whisper. Wang Xian smiled and nodded. He would not dampen his mood just because of a few pieces of garbage over there. "It's okay. Let's carry on." Wang Xian saw that the dealer had rolled the dice. He took out another 5 chips and placed them on small. "Tisk brat, you're garbage." At the same time, the young man sitting diagonally opposite him shook his head. He then placed his chip on big with beaming expressions. 1 for 6. 11 points big. The dealer opened the hood and announced the outcome loudly. "Oh." Chapter 200. Eyes Modification. Haha. The laughter of that young man sounded again as he revealed a conceited look. Oh, Zhu Qian, are you here to wreck my casino? Let me tell you this. I won't be paying you the money you win. At this moment, a good-looking young man walked over. Beside him, a middle-aged man and an old man followed closely behind. The two of them were to the left and right of the young man. Hehe. If Brother Tiancheng isn't paying me my winnings, I can only make you pay for my bills on the cruise. Zhu Qian smiled and replied to the incoming young man. Haha. Great. Since you guys are here, it's only natural that I will be a good host. The young man laughed as he walked over and patted on Zhu Qian's shoulders. Have a good time. Let me arrange the itinerary for the next few days. Thank you, Brother Tiancheng. The surrounding group of young men answered with radiant smiles. Finalize your bets. When the dealer saw the approaching young man, he perked up. He became more serious with shaking the dice and announced loudly. These are the last 5 chips. Qingyue, I'll leave them with you. Wang Xian handed over the 5 chips to Qingyue. All right. Just see how I am going to win them all back. Lan Qingyue took over the chips and was hesitating on placing them on the big or small section. Hey pretty. Follow me and I can guarantee your win. At this moment, Zhu Qian looked at Lan Qingyue and commented. The young man that had just arrived took a glance at Zhu Qian before looking at Lan Qingyue. A thought struck him and he smiled. I don't care. Lan Qingyue glanced at Zhu Qian with contempt and still placed her bet under the small section. Zhu Qian shook his head as he placed his chips on the big section. Pretty, if you follow me, I can guarantee your winnings. The brat beside you is trash. The other young men looked on with cocky smiles. 2 for 6. 12 points, big wins. The dealer revealed the dice and announced the result loudly. Don't come and disgust others. Lan Qingyue replied with disdain after hearing flirtatious comments from Zhu Qian constantly. Oh. Zhu Qian raised an eyebrow and unhappiness flashed past his eyes. Seeing that Lan Qingyue had 0 chips left, he lifted his head and remarked, Hey pretty, out of chips already? Here are some for you to play with. As he finished his sentence, he threw out 5 to 6 chips. Each chip was worth $200,000. His actions made the remaining young men tongue-tied. To just throw out $1, $2 million like this. That's the demeanor of a local tyrant. Let's go, Xiao Xian, and ignore this crazy guy. When Lan Qingyue saw the looks of Zhu Qian, she felt even more contempt. She wasn't a little girl who hadn't seen the world. She was making decisions for Deep Sea Jewelry, an organization of over $10 billion. Zhu Qian's actions to her were those of a retard. Wang Xian nodded his head and laughed lightly. He saw the embarrassed looks on Zhu Qian and felt even more like laughing. Lan Qingyue still had a domineering character. A female CEO that helmed a $10 billion business wasn't someone who would be tempted by money from a rich kid. Hey pretty, you better watch your words. Zhu Qian saw the mocking eyes of his friends and said with a solemn expression. When Lan Qingyue heard Zhu Qian, she replied with contempt. You are just another guy who feels too good about himself. In my eyes you are. TSK. You must be lacking someone to teach you. Zhu Qian squinted his eyes as vile thoughts and looks flashed past his mind. When Wang Xian heard his words, his face turned cold. He looked at Zhu Qian and the group of young men behind him before finally stopping at the young man who had just arrived. Is this your cruise? Does it mean that you allow your friends to spout nonsense here? As long as my friends are happy, I can handle the rest. That young man was surprised to see Wang Xian questioning him as he replied directly. As long as my friends are happy, I can handle the rest. A nonchalant answer from him that showed that he wasn't concerned about what had happened. In his eyes, there was indeed nothing to be calculative about. This was his territory, and considering Zhu Qian's background, he was someone worth his protection. Haha, great. Interesting. Wang Xian heard the young man's reply and revealed a creepy grin. Let's go, Qingyue. Let's get some more chips and have some fun with them. Wang Xian said to Lan Qingyue before walking towards the place to exchange chips. Lan Qingyue looked at him with questions in her mind. Just wait here a little. Wang Xian smiled at her before speaking to the group of young men. Oh. Zhu Qian and the group of young men looked at Wang Xian with doubts. They couldn't tell what Wang Xian wanted to do. However, they didn't say a word and simply looked at him coldly. Wang Xian walked to the chips exchange area, took out his card and said to the employee, $5 million. Get me the chips with the largest denominations. All right, sir. The employee smiled and nodded his head before passing him his chips. Xiao Xian, let's forget about it. With our skills, we will just be giving them money. Let's not be calculative with a few rich kids. Seeing how Wang Xian had reacted, Lan Qingyue thought that Wang Xian just wanted to do something for her. She immediately discouraged him. It's fine. I need to use the washroom. When I get back, I'll be the gambling king. Wang Xian thumped his chest and replied with a radiant grin. Lan Qingyue looked at him helplessly. If we lose this money, we won't be continuing no matter what. All right. I understand. A gambler will lose 9 out of 10 times. Wang Xian grinned and nodded his head before heading to the washroom. As for Lan Qingyue, she waited outside the washroom. The washroom on the cruise was luxurious and grand. Every cubicle was also tightly separated. Hehe. I'll make you pay a heavy price for being so cocky today. Wang Xian revealed a deadly smirk. He had not wanted to resort to this. However, it seemed like there would be such a need at this moment. He took out a fist-sized item from his pocket. The eye of a level 11 ichthyosaur. Wang Xian had not devoured the eyes but had kept it instead. As the divine dragon, he had an extremely powerful ability. Wang Xian had utilized it a little initially. And that was modification. Using dragon energy for modification was an extremely powerful ability. Wang Xian had earned his first bucket of gold through dragon energy modification. Dragon energy modification could alter an animal exterior. Based on the extent of the modification, the exhaustion of the dragon energy would differ. At this moment, Wang Xian could even use dragon energy to alter his own body. Other than his appearance, he could also modify his interior. For example, his heart or other related organs. This would naturally include his eyes. Wang Xian could modify his eyes to give them the ability to see further, but was limited to this. This was because he did not have samples of other eyes and didn't know how to modify. The ability to see further is simple and he could understand. If he wanted abilities like Byakugan or Sharingan from the popular manga series, Naruto, it would be difficult, as he did not have a sample. Modification couldn't be done out of the thin air. And just a night ago, he had obtained the eyes of the ichthyosaur. The ability of this eye was to enable the user to see weakness. Based on his previous research, the ability of this eye wasn't as great as he had initially imagined. Its real ability was penetration. To put it simply, it was to see through things. The stronger the organism or object, the harder it was to see through. On the contrary, the weaker it was, the easier it was to see through. This was also similar to the ability to identify one's weakness. The Clam Girl's long-range assistance could bring significant advantages to the devil monkeys who would engage in close combat. In the future, the 9 divisions of the Divine Dragon will create a formation. The Devil Division will be the forward. We need to have an auxiliary division, a long-range attack division, and a defense division just like the assistants, tankers, supports, mages, and scouts in a game. Wang Xian thought to himself. Zhu Qian gave a cold look at Wang Xian while throwing a chip on small. Just now my luck was poor. But now my lady of luck is back since I washed my hands, Wang Xian said impassively as he received $2 million worth of chips from the dealer. Finalize your bets, the dealer announced to everyone at the table after he shook the dice again. Gentlemen, follow my bet. Wang Xian looked at the other 5 middle-aged men on the same table and spoke with a smile on his face. They hesitated as they did not believe in him since he had lost a huge amount of money just now. Wang Xian was not bothered by this at all. He placed another $1 million worth of chips on small. Zhu Qian was somewhat surprised as he placed his chip on small as well. The rest of the middle-aged men could not make up their decisions, but some decided to follow Wang Xian and place a higher stake. 133. 7 points, small wins. The dealer opened the cover and frowned before he declared the score. Looks like my lady of luck is here. Wang Xian smiled as he had earned 2 million in a short while. Let's continue. The dealer shook the dice for a longer time such that Zhu Qian frowned at it. Wang Xian swept his gaze and saw the points clearly in it. I shall place a higher bet. As he spoke, he threw $5 million on big immediately. Some of the middle-aged men hesitated before they followed his bet with 10,000 worth of chips. Zhu Qian knit his eyebrows together. Just now, the dealer has taken a longer time to shake the dice with a variety of changes made to the rhythm. Apparently, all these dealers were specially trained to interrupt some people with special hearing. Small. He chose not to follow Wang Xian and placed a chip on small. 446. 14 points, big wins. When the dealer opened the cover and saw the points in it, his expression changed slightly. All of a sudden, this gambling table was losing a large sum of money. Zhu Qian had a different expression as he stared at Wang Xian with an awful look. You're damn lucky. Haha, you're absolute garbage. Wang Xian smiled and returned his remark. Bro, you're in some kind of luck today. Your lady of luck is here. Yes, carry on with the bets. We'll place the same thing and reap the gains. The middle-aged men beside him laughed as they spoke to Wang Xian. Since Wang Xian had won 3 times in a row, his luck had proven to be good. Sure. Follow me, and you'll never lose out, Wang Xian said confidently. He did not mind people who won money because of him since they would not be a hindrance to him. Besides, that young man seemed to be the in charge of this cruise. Wang Xian intended to make him cry his eyes out. Chapter 202. I'll leave when I win $800 million to $1 billion. On the gambling table, the smart-looking man started to frown when he saw Wang Xian win $5 million in one game. However, he didn't say a word. In the gaming industry, it is common to see customers win money. In fact, some people even win tens of millions. However, these people were rare. Large-scale casinos like theirs wouldn't say much about it, and would only attribute it to the luck of their customers. Let's continue. Wang Xian looked at the dealer and said with a smile. The dealer started to frown and looked towards the young man. The young man gestured for him to continue. The dealer nodded. He then covered the dice shaker and started shaking them. This time the dealer shook the dice for a longer period. Pack. The dealer put the dice shaker on the table and remarked, "Please finalize your bets." Wang Xian scanned through and placed $5 million on the small section. Follow him. Those middle-aged men beside him didn't hesitate to follow him. Some took out several tens of thousands while others placed bets of over a few hundred thousand. Zhu Qian's face was gloomy and he remained silent. He could only vaguely guess the results as the dealer shook the dice for a longer time. Therefore, he didn't place his bet for this round. Seeing chips of over $5 million for this round, the dealer took a deep breath before opening the dice cover. 114. Small. Haha, we won. You are awesome, young brother. You are fantastic. Yes, Lady Luck is really smiling brightly on you. We won. A few middle-aged men beside Wang Xian's side stood up in a hurry and quickly swept the chips over and in front of Wang Xian. The dealer swallowed his saliva. He hesitated for a moment before paying out the remaining chips. How is this possible? This young man was trash previously. How could he become? Zhu Qian's expression changed for the worse as he looked at Wang Xian in disbelief. The young man beside Zhu Qian frowned. He then waved his hand to signal to the old man behind him. Young master. Check if he is cheating. Yes, young master. The old man nodded and moved to a position opposite Wang Xian. Thank you for your hard work, Wang Xian said. Wang Xian gave a ridiculed expression when he saw the old man moving to the position opposite him to observe him. He took up a chip worth $200,000 and threw it towards the old man. What great luck you are on, son. I would like to observe for a while. The old man picked up the token and spoke to Wang Xian while maintaining a smile. As you wish, Wang Xian replied and nodded nonchalantly. Let's continue, the young man said to the dealer grumpily. Perspiration covered the dealer's forehead. He nodded, picked up the dice shaker and started shaking again. Wang Xian sat there nonchalantly while Lan Qingyue grabbed his hand blissfully. Please finalize your bets, the dealer stuttered. Big. Wang Xian scanned through and pushed $10 million worth of chips forward. Big. Big. I'll bet $1 million. I believe in you, young brother. $500,000. The group of middle-aged men who had followed Wang Xian with his bets previously placed all their chips forward. Those around them saw the quantum of the bets and turned over curiously. There were also some who were attracted by the crowd. Open. 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 Big. 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 The group of middle-aged men beside Wang Xian were already chanting ecstatically before Wang Xian said a word. The dealer's hands trembled. He looked at the bets amounting to over $12 million as he lifted his hands slowly. 456. Big. The dealer announced as his face turned white. He had lost over $20 million in just a few games. The old man who was observing Wang Xian started frowning and turned serious. Bring more chips over. Hurry up, hurry up. Give us our winnings. The group of middle-aged men demanded. Give it to them. The young man's emotionless voice sounded as he looked at the dealer with a sullen face. The dealer nodded and gave them their winnings. Haha. I've won more than $20 million. Wang Xian looked at the young man mockingly and laughed. Wang Xian was typically a humble man. However, if someone was to offend him, he wouldn't be courteous to them. Let's continue. Yes, yes. Let's continue. Hurry up, hurry up. The group of middle-aged men beside Wang Xian were elated. They were looking at Wang Xian as if they were looking at their god of fortune. In just 2 games, some people had won 5 to 600,000. There were even some people who had won a few million. At this moment, the old man walked over and spoke to the dealer. Let me do it. Yes, old Gao. Please. Please. The dealer hurried aside when he heard old Gao. He felt relieved. The old man took up the dice shaker and shook it lightly for a few times, after which, he placed it on the table. Please finalize your bet, the old man said calmly. Wang Xian looked at the old man. The old man was very calm and kept his cool. He must be an expert. Otherwise he wouldn't have stepped in now, Wang Xian thought to himself. He scanned through the dice shaker again and took out $5 million. $5 million on small. Why don't you bet more? Zhu Qian asked Wang Xian coldly. It was obvious Zhu Qian knew old Gao. I'm not so certain for this round. Therefore, I'll just be placing a smaller bet. Wang Xian smiled and replied. The group of middle-aged men was slightly surprised. They hesitated for a moment when they saw Wang Xian placing a bet of only $5 million. Eventually, they placed bets that ranged between 100 to 200,000. As the crowd finalized their bets, they looked at the old man. The old man smiled calmly and reached for the cover. Wang Xian focused on the dice inside and saw the dice had changed when the old man held onto the cover. The dice which were originally 113 had changed to 663. My apologies. 663. Big. The old man said with a big smile. Big. Hayes. We've lost. It's big. We've lost. The group of middle-aged men standing by the sides felt their hearts aching. Wang Xian's expression remained unchanged. He gestured to the old man. Let's continue. Okay, let's continue. The old man smiled. The few young men beside him also grinned and were feeling confident. The old man shook the dice shaker and placed them down slowly once again. Small. $20 million. Wang Xian pushed all his tokens on the small section and smiled confidently. You are really confident, young brother. I will follow you. $500,000. Me too. I place $1 million. Since this young brother dares to bet $20 million, my $1 million is nothing. The group of middle-aged men increased their bets after seeing Wang Xian bet $20 million for this round. Hee. Fine. The old man nodded his head with a smile. He then reached for the cover. Wait a minute. Wang Xian shouted and stood up. The old man frowned slightly and stared at him, feeling puzzled. Let the dealer beside you open it. I don't trust you. Wang Xian stared at the old man with a wide grin and spoke slowly. Old Gao's expression changed slightly as he replied with a solemn voice, "What is the difference?" "There's no difference. However, I just want that dealer to be the one opening it." "So, you can't allow it? Or are you hiding something?" Wang Xian said to the old man coldly. The old man's expression changed and he stared harshly at Wang Xian. "The shaking was completed anyway. It doesn't matter who's the one opening the cover. Since we are the customers, why can't you accede to our request and let the other dealer open it?" "That's right. It is the same no matter who opens it. Let the dealer at the side open it." The group of middle-aged men picked up Wang Xian's suspicions and made their views heard immediately. Their action of changing dealers in the middle of gambling had already angered some of them. The question on who should open the cover right now would also just be a small matter. If they refused, it would only confirm the young brother's suspicions that something wasn't right. What's the matter? Does it matter who opens the cover? That dealer can open it right away, can't he? That's right. Although their request is slightly troublesome, you are operating a casino cruise. This is just a small request. Those customers who had gathered to see what was happening started to comment. The old man looked at those who were around and his face turned solemn. At this moment he couldn't forcefully open it. If he did so, it would only prove to the crowd that they were indeed up to something. It would be a disastrous blow to them if news of their casino cruise cheating got out. Old Gao drew a long face and gestured to the dealer beside him. That dealer nodded with a bitter face as he reached to open the cover. His arms were trembling. 2, 3, 4. 9 points. Small. Haha. We won. We won. It's amazing. The group of middle-aged men who had just won were jubilant. The old man walked back to the young man with a troubled face and said, "He is skillful." The young man looked extremely displeased and clenched his fist tightly. He stared at Wang Xian harshly and said, "Young man, it's good to know when to stop." Wang Xian looked back at the young man as he replied coldly, "I will leave when I win $800 million to $1 billion. What's the matter? You are operating a casino cruise and you won't let your customer win? If that is the case, you might as well shut it down." Chapter 203, Sunken One. When that young man heard what Wang Xian said, cold radiance flashed in his eyes. "I just won more than 30 million. And you're stopping me already? What about those people who lost over more than $10 million? Why aren't you stopping them? Do you mean that people can only lose and not win any money here?" Wang Xian asked loudly with a disdainful look as he observed the young man's expression. "That's right. You let us gamble if we lose our money. But how can you stop us when we're winning some money? I lost more than $5 million last year. Are you stopping us because we're winning?" "That's right. I saw a wealthy man lose more than 10 million just a few days ago." The audience around them began to speak loudly when they witnessed such a situation. Everyone knew that the chance of losing was more than winning in gambling. But if the casino stopped you from gambling just when you were winning some money, how would you feel? Everyone was displeased as they looked over there and commented. People from the other side of the casino came over out of curiosity when they saw the crowd. The young man was looking awfully embarrassed. "Why would we stop you? Our casino can still afford to lose this bit of money." The old man turned to the crowd and said slowly, "Since you guys want to play, let's continue then. Carry on." Cold radiance surfaced in the old man's eyes as he took the dice shaker and shook it violently. Pack. When the dice shaker hit the table, the old man said impassively, "Finalize your bets." Interesting. Wang Xian saw 2 out of 3 dices stacked up together. The dice that was stacked up on top was 1 point while the remaining dice was also 1 point. They added up to 2 points altogether. But given the rules, 3 to 10 points would make a small. There was no betting option for 2 points. Going by this, all betting options were losing options. But Wang Xian continued to bet on the small with 10 million. The middle-aged men and the spectators around the table were tempted as they followed his bet. "Get that dealer to open the cover." Wang Xian pointed at the dealer by the side and said. Radiance flickered in the old man's eyes as he signaled the dealer to open the cover. That dealer almost burst into tears as he lifted the cover gently. 2 points you lose. Haha. When Zhu Qian saw the dice stacking up, he exclaimed with thrills. Damn, why is it 2 points? Is this fucking possible? How did the dice end up stacking up together? Is this cheating? That's right, such a probability is too small. Those customers who had lost burst out with loud voices and grumpy looks on their faces. Wang Xian clapped his hands. Awesome. This old man is simply impressive. I'm sure you didn't learn how to stack all the dice together or crush them into powder just like the movie, did you? Brilliant. As he spoke, his face was full of sarcasm. He continued, let's carry on. I don't believe I'll lose all the time. The old man stared at Wang Xian with surprise. When he saw a group of customers beginning to crowd over, his expression turned wretched. The young man at the side noticed the issue. This fellow obviously knew 2 dice were stacking on each other. But he continued to place a 10 million bet, encouraging the customers around him to follow him. It was okay if the dice stacked once or twice. However, what would the customers who lost their money think when this happened again and again? They could argue that this was absolutely cheating. I'm not sure who you are, but I'm paying you $100 million for you to leave from my gambling cruise and never come back again. The young man had mixed expression as he gritted his teeth and whispered to Wang Xian. Hee, what's the matter? Are you admitting your defeat? Wang Xian looked at the young man scornfully as he drew his lips slightly. Just now your friend made cheap remarks. I'll not leave without $500 million. You still need to fork over another $100 million to distribute to the customers over here. If you're unwilling to do it, we can continue with the game, Wang Xian said slowly. He did not forget about the customers around him. He just wanted to make the young man feel disgusted. Otherwise, Wang Xian would lose out big time if he just let this young man off after spending 400,000 dragon energy on modifying his eyes. This young man had to pay some price for the 400,000 dragon energy. Brat, don't push your luck. The young man shot up from his seat as he glared at Wang Xian with a pair of cold eyes fuming with murderous intent. I'm pushing my luck? I came here just to have some fun. If it were not for your friend who was rude to my girlfriend while you said you could handle me, do you think I'd be here playing along with you? You want to have a game? Then let's have fair play. Wang Xian stood up and spoke sarcastically to the young man. Upon hearing Wang Xian calling her girlfriend, Lan Qingyue slightly blushed. Immediately, she rolled her eyes at him. Zhu Qian had a rather awful expression on his face when he heard Wang Xian. He stared malevolently at him. Everyone saw that I lost more than $1 million right from the start. Since you guys taunted me, I should take this gamble seriously. Let me continue or pay all the customers here and me. Then I'll leave. Wang Xian continued to say nonchalantly. I'm out to make them disgusted. The customers around them were looking doubtful, yet hopeful. If the casino is giving away $100 million to them, each of them could get quite a sum of money. Get out of here now, or else I'll make sure you regret it. The young man darkened his expression as he walked to Wang Xian and threatened him. He did not care about the strange looks on the faces of the surrounding customers. Bam, bam, bam. As the young man spoke, the security guards on the cruise ran over with electric batons in their hands. They glared at Wang Xian in a threatening manner. You are chasing and threatening me just because I won $30 million at your place. Haha, you can forget about operating such a gambling cruise from now on. Wang Xian fixed his indifferent eyes on all the people. The surrounding customers pondered slightly when they saw such a situation. Seeing the way that Venture handled such cases, they really had to reconsider if they should come here again in the future. If you dare to utter a word again, I can cripple your legs. No one dares to play punk on the turf of Zhang family in Gambling City. The young man stared at him with fiery eyes and an ice-cold expression. Brat, you're here to make trouble, aren't you? Zhu Qian walked over and glared at Wang Xian. I, Zhu Qian from the Zhu family, will make sure you have a miserable ending in the future for offending me. Is this a threat? Wang Xian looked at Zhu Qian and the young man before him with a trace of a smile on his face. If that's the case, let's wait and see. You better remember what you said just now. After Wang Xian finished his sentence, he looked at Lan Qingyue with a smiling face. Let's return to our yacht. Okay. Lan Qingyue nodded her head with a stern look on her face. Xiao Xian, I heard my grandpa mention Jiang family of the gambling city once before. They are a powerful family. It's okay. Let's go back to the yacht to enjoy the beautiful scenery.